Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the UK GT3 League, brought to you live on the Total Sim Sport YouTube and Twitch channels. I am James Parfitt, and tonight I will be joined by Sean Cranleigh-Swash, who we'll hear from shortly. Tonight is the turn of the pros and elites, and let me tell you, we are in for some close, amazing races. Onto the track, this amazing circuit is new to iRacing this season, and at a current length of 4.38 kilometres or 2.72 miles, and a mix of free straights and a mix of tight corners, tonight's racing is going to be epic. Let's bring in Sean and find out about this amazing track. Sean, welcome to the show.
Hi James, rare occurrence for me to be on comms, but here I am, looking forward to the racing tonight.
Sean, tell us, what can we expect from this track and the racing this evening?
Well, Hungaroring is a deceivingly tight and twisty track with something that the track map probably fails to portray here. The race really is going to be down to 3 elements for the drivers. Qualification, really important here. Passing is very difficult. They've got to keep the car on track because there is going to just be a queue of cars behind them if they do come off. And finally, the pit stop, making sure they maximise the exit and entrance to the pit lane is going to be key for them. So don't expect much passing. Closing radius of the corners are really going to favour the defending drivers throughout.
Now, after the last round in the dark in Road Atlanta, the drivers put on a show for us. With this being a new circuit, can you tell us how important it would be for these drivers to get the practice laps in this week?
Well, Hungaroring, being new to iRacing, as you said, really shows off both the talent of the drivers and the practice time they've had to put in. It really is a green track, it feels like it. It's very different to anything else that they were going to be racing on this season. In fact, probably anything they've raced on over the last 3 seasons. This week's GT3 racing here in officials, we've seen a resurgence of the Audi for the top drivers. But as we head down the IR scale, we're seeing the familiar look of the Porsche and BMW coming in. So it really is up to the drivers and the practice time they put in.
Right, now this week, guys, we have drivers who have taken drop weeks, so let's run through them now. So in the pros, we have Andy Jones, James Foster, Callum Roby, Peter Cox, Martin Rendell, Chris Edisford, Matt Edmondson and Kyoshi Kelly. And in the elites, we have Daryl Norkett, Harry Barker, Paul Busby, Austin William Campbell, Danny Goslin and Sam Gunstow. So guys, the format as always for tonight will be each race is 45 minutes preceded by a closed qualification session to set the grid. Pole position will be getting an extra point this season, and the drivers with the fastest laps at the end of the season will be picking one up too. So let's have a quick look at the schedule. Tonight is the Hungaroring. In 2 weeks time on the 17th we are at Road America. On to the 31st it's Fright Night at the Nürburgring. Into November we go, and on the 14th will be the famous Suzuka circuit. Then we're rounding out the season at Mount Panorama on the 28th of November, where we'll be crowning our 2021 Season 4 UK GT3 champion. Sean, this is going to be one epic season for our drivers and a mix of great circuits. It's really going to be a testing season for them this year.
Yeah, it will be, James. The decision to follow VRS for this league has really helped change up the challenge for all 97 drivers. A lot of tracks we're not normally going to see in our league, so it'll be good to see how they go this time around.
Cool. Okay, Sean, well, let's run us through the starting grid then.
Okay, so P1 we got Xander Hill, followed by Dave Hotchkiss, half a second ahead of the P2 driver there is Xander Hill, followed by Jep, Amos, Abbott, Blackwell, Luca, Anstis, Green and Newman round out the top 5 rows with Gary Bacon and Steve Masters following them up. Then we're followed by Foskett, Gee, Johnson, Congrave, Falconer, Hyde, Capone, Vander, then Cox, Byram, Sanford and Jennings.
Right, guys, we are on our pace lap, and as you can see, we are coming round turn 13. We are going to be going green very shortly, guys, with Xander Hill, Dave Hodgkiss, Richard Jett, Joel Amos, Shane Over, Dan Blackwell, Nathan Ansis, Murray Luca, Joe Newman and Lee Green rounded out our top 10. And guys, this week, season 2 of the pros and elites at the Nürburgring as we head round turn 14. We are gonna be go. We got Xander Hill, who's got a great start there from Dave Hodgkiss and Richard Jett. Shane Abbott still in fourth place. Amos in fifth behind him. Dan Blackwell as we head down into turn 1. We got Richard Jett there on the inside. He has gone past Dave Hodgkiss to take second place as we head into turn 2. Sean, we got through that, well, cleanly, to be fair, sir.
Yeah, just looking back through all the cars, everyone's got through really clean. As we thought, it's going to be tight. They're taking it easy. It's a long race to go here. We've got another, 44 minutes to go, so they are clearly just waiting it out. So let's see what happens as they carry on through.
Yeah, as we head up into turn 4 and then into the tricky section of turn 5 and 6, as we got Murray Luca with Joe Newman right up, tucked up behind him there in the Porsche. He's coming up now as we head down into 5, 6, 7 and 8. It's going to be an interesting part of this track, Sean, I think, this in section here. I mean, this is where the time could be won or lost.
Yeah, I mean, when you're following cars, it's going to be really hard to make up much time. You just got to stay in their slipstream, really ready for the straight. I have just noticed that Chris Fosker has come off the track, so why don't we take a look and see what he did?
Yeah, let's see what's happened to Chris here. As we come down in the 611 car, he comes into the corner. Oh, I think, to be honest there, Sean, I think he got a tap up the exhaust, I believe. It was a little bit close, I believe, coming through there.
Yeah, I think we may be looking at a Mark Jennings there who may have tapped him. Let's take a look.
Yeah. As we come through now, as we're on board with Mark. Oh no, it was a little bit further on from there, wasn't it? It looked like Finn van de Wittenborg maybe, and might have had a tap on him there. But we're still going. We've got Xander Hill still in first, Richard Jett second, Dave Hodgkiss first, Shane Abbott fourth, Dan Blackwell fifth, Joel Amos sixth, Nathan Anstey, Murray Luca eighth, Joel Newman 9 and Sam Coggrave. We're rounding out the top 10, so we're still on board with Xander Hill. He has got Richard Jett right up behind him as we go into turn 2. Coming down into turn 3 now, it's fairly spaced out at the moment. They look fairly comfortable where they are, Sean, to be fair.
Yeah, it looks like the top 3 are starting to pull away from the rest of the pack now. Not surprised, the clear air in front's really going to help. The rest of the guys, they're all within a half a second of each other or so, and they are just queuing through. It's going to be a bit of a train, as we can see here.
Yeah, we've got Joe Newman in the 96 car there with Sam Coggrave coming right up behind him as we head down into 6 and 7. Now this section, now we discussed last week, Sean, a lot about the cars taking the curbs. They seem to be quite taking a lot of curbs already this early on. Is that something that we're going to be getting used to throughout this track? Does the track allow us to take this amount of curbs?
It depends where you are on the track. The chicane, they've actually added in a Scottish curb on the exit that wasn't there when they first brought the track out. Even though it's a brand new track, they've made that modification. There was a lot of people running over that exit of the second part of the chicane, so they've added that in there, but the guys are still going to be nailing that curb into the chicane. A couple of places around the track where you really do need to ride the curbs on the entrance or the exit just to get the maximum there. Coming here out of the final corner, you'll see the guys really take a lot of curb. Just try and maximise that exit there.
Yeah, and we seem to be very good. Still on board with Joe Newman, who's got Murray Luca in front of him, 0.5 seconds. Sam Coggrave behind, 0.66 now as we jump on board with Joel Amos. Now, Joel's the highest Ford and the only Ford in the field this week, Sean. Obviously, we had Austin William Campbell last week. It was very bright livery. Joel seems to have gone a little bit more conservative on his livery for his Ford this week.
Yeah, it looks like a proper traditional almost Shelby-esque livery there for that one. Hopefully it do well. It's good to see a Ford in the top end of the race there in P6.
Yeah, he's sitting in P6 at the moment. Dan Blackwell, 0.41 seconds up the road. Nathan Anstice, after that epic battle we saw him have last week, is 0.5 7 seconds behind him. Now, we're coming in now. What are we looking at pit stop range on this, Sean? Do we know roughly how many laps we're looking at doing per car for the pit stops?
We should expect the cars to come in with about 12 to 10 minutes to go today, so it's going to be quite a short stint on the way out. I just want to take a look at an incident we've got. I've noticed that we've got a couple of drivers in the pits. They seem to have had a bit of an accident. I've had a look back myself. Let's go and take a look and see what happened.
Yeah, we've got Finn Van Bittenborg and Chris Byram in the pits now. As we jump on board with Chris Byram, he's that was Finn Van Bittenborg, that was Chris Byram tagging Finn there. And they also collected the number 21 car as well. That looked, which way would you go with that, Sean? That looked a bit like Finn, Chris coming back onto the track, tagging Finn as he on the entrance back in there.
It was a bit difficult to see there. There was a little bit of net code involved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up an overhead and see what we can see there.
And as we jump on board with Chris Byram as he comes out, I think it's a bit hard to tell. Chris just kind of come back into the middle of the track, like back onto his line, and didn't realise Finn was right up beside him there. It's a bit of a difficult one, really, isn't it? Unfortunately for Chris, he did go back across the track and tag the barrier on the other side there, which probably didn't do him any favours. But we go back on board with Joel Amos now as we're heading up into turn 4. Dan Blackwell in front of us, 1.12 seconds. Nathan Edson is tucked up right behind us at 0.43 as we're heading down into 6 and 7. Now, Joel being the only Ford, to be fair, he's in the top 6. He's doing rather well, isn't he, Sean?
Well, I think it just goes to show what they've done with the Ford in the pre-season over at iRacing. They've brought that back into the frame completely. It's good to have 8 cars now running in GT3. For a long while, it's been really 7 or 6 with the Mercedes as well being caught out with BOPs last season.
Yes. Sorry, carry on.
And hopefully we'll see more guys using these cars going through, but as you can see today, it's just full of Ferraris.
Yeah, we've got 4 Ferraris in the top 10, 2 BMWs, 1 Porsche, 1 Ford, 2 Porsches, 1 Ford and a Mercedes. As we go, Gary on board with Gary Baker as we're coming into the last turn, into turn 14 there. He has got Stephen Masters and Mark Johnson right behind him now as well. So we're 0.41 seconds. Now, you mentioned not to look out for much passing. Is that because the lack of toe that these guys are getting down the straight shot?
No, I mean, into turn 1, you would think that it's quite an easy passing place to make, but the nature of the corners here, and a lot of them, they have a really, really tight closing apex on these corners. So even if you are side by side, the defending car really is going to have the upper hand, because that gap is really going to close down on you as you come past the apex when you're trying to make that move. So unless you're past them on the straight or going into that corner before the apex, it really, really is tough for you.
Yes, we've got Murray Luca now. Si Anthony's in YouTube chat. Let's go, Murray. Oh! Fortunately, that was Joel Amos involved as well in that one. Let's see what happens. We've got Joel coming up. He's on the inside, takes a curb, runs out. Oh, he loses it under. Oh, that was just too much curb on that one, Joel. And unfortunately, he's collected. Nathan Hanstis, I think, was collected with him on that one there. Yeah. Oh, it looked a bit harsh on Joel there. Just too much curb by the looks of it. Just accelerated and the car just followed him round there, Sean.
Yeah, so what's really hard to tell here on the TV view is as you come out of that corner there, there's actually a drain cover the other side of like a gutter all the way along the curb, along the exit of that corner. And what he's done is just knocked the rear wheel onto that, and it's just spun him right round. He's then gone onto the grass because he's hit that apex, that exit curb so late, and he's just taken him into 2 other cars with looks like it's Anstis and Newman who've been caught out there.
No, unlucky for Nathan Anstis there. Had an absolutely amazing race last week. As we go, 2 weeks ago, sorry, as we go with Lee Green with Patrick Falconer, 0.5 seconds behind us. Sam Cogwave, 0.32 in front of us. We are going to be jumping down onto first gear. Is Lee going to be showing his nose? There he goes. He shows his nose, looks at making a move and slots back into Sam Cogwave there in the Mercedes as we're heading out, back out to turn 2. These guys have been really close together, to be fair, and considering the tightness of this circuit, it's been fairly clean start. We are only 10 minutes in, but it has been a fairly clean start, hasn't it, don't you think?
Well, saying that, we've got cars down to, from P17 to 25 in the pits at the moment. So that's a quarter of the field that have had to visit the pits at some point in this race, and that kind of goes in with what I was saying at the beginning of the race. If you keep it clean, you keep it on track, you're going to have a good race here. Just looking through, you've got guys like Sam Congrave, he's made 9 places, Jennings has made 9 places, and Cox has made 7, only because of these guys in front of them making mistakes.
No, we've also got Patrick Faulkner's up 8 places as well, as we're still with Lee Green now as we're heading down into 11, and then we've got that short blast of a straight down to 12. It's going to be an interesting one to see what these guys really sort of do with this track shot. I mean, at the end of the day, this has been a new track in, they've had lots of practice laps. Do we think they're going to be still feeling their feet, or have they done enough laps that they'll know they can go out and do the 143s, 144s that we're seeing at the moment?
I think this race is going to get faster as they go through. A lot of the guys have run officials this week, but there are enough of the guys in this race that haven't done much practice either. So we'll see those slower guys at the start starting to speed up as the race goes on, as they get used to the track. But it's a difficult track to come into with practice.
Yeah, it looks very tight and twisty, and as we see Sam now is on the right hand side as you look at the screen. Lee pokes his nose through as we're coming down into turn 1, that tricky right hand turn there as we go down. We're pushing off up into turn 2. We're going to try and get up into as many gears as we possibly can. We're going to hit the brakes, flick down and roll round the corner into 3, waiting for the front end to come in now as we jump on board with Richard Jeep. He's got Dave Hotchkiss 0.45 seconds behind. We've got Xander Hill a second up the road now as we're coming into turn 5, 6 and 7, that tricky infield. Xander seems to have pulled out. He's got about 1.18 second gap shot. Is he now going to be knowing that he's got his line, he's just going to be trying to hit them points as much as possible throughout the rest of these 33 minutes?
Well, Xander's one of the guys that's done a lot of official racing this week, and he was half a second faster as well. It's no surprise he's putting out 1 second gap, almost 1.5 second gap already. I'm sure he's very calm, very confident, and he's just going to have to negotiate that lapping traffic, and that will be his only issue, I think.
Yeah, I think as they come round now, we're coming down into the last corner into turn 14. We've still got Xander Hill out in front, Richard Jeep in second, Dave Hotchkiss third, Shane Abbott fourth, Dan Blackwell fifth. Murray Luca is up into 6th place there. We've got Sam Congrave 7th, Lee Green 8th, and Patrick Faulkner 9th. And Stephen Masters is up 2 places, and he is currently sitting in 10th as well. We go on board, we can see it from Lee Green's point of view as we head around the last corner. We've still got Sam Congrave in front of us with 0.35 seconds back, and we're not really closing as much as I thought the draft would have paid down. 0.29, 0.28 as we come down into that first corner. Very late. Oh, so much curve as we now power out, get on the power as quickly as we can. Heading into 2. Lee's done an absolutely stellar job in that Ferrari so far, keeping it nice and clean, even though he's tucked up behind Sam, Sean. Is Lee, would you say from what we've seen of Lee so far, this is going to be a nice, calm race for him?
Well, you can see where he's... Let's just watch this move here, actually. Looks like Masters is
we've got Stephen Masters, Patrick Faulkner, Gary Bacon, Mark Johnson there in the 3. We got Stephen Masters out on the head of the 3. Gary Bacon takes a little bit of a bad line coming through 7 and 8. Mark Johnson's on the back end trying to capitalise. We've got Jacob Hyman in there as well. We're going 3, 2 wide, guys, as we come down into turn 9. Jumping down into 10 now as we head off down into 11, and then we've got a short blast straight from 11 down through till 12. These guys are absolutely keeping it as clean as possible. So we've got Steve Masters at the front, Gary Bacon behind, Mark Johnson in front, Jacob Hyde there tucked up behind. We've also got Peter Cox who's come into the frame. Again, we're going with Sam Congrave. He's still got Lee Green tucked up right behind him, unfortunately, coming down into turn 14. This is going to be quite stressful for Sam, having Lee so close, Sean. How's he going to keep his head going? Because as we've seen already, it's so easy to make a mistake. You know, what's he got to do to try and keep Lee behind him?
Well, actually here it's a lot easier if you've got the pace or a roundabout pace of the drivers behind. It's so hard. We've seen it 3 or 4 times already. Lee's trying to make a move into T1, going up the inside, but because of the nature of the corners and the exit of these corners, he's just not able to do it. Unless he's really right behind him coming into that last corner and can get that draft, down the start-finish straight. I can't see him getting past unless there's a mistake made.
No, I think that would be the thing for Sam there, is keeping it nice and clean, but it is bringing Patrick Falconer into the frame at the back end of that frame. We've got Gary Baker now, he's got Mark Johnson in front, Jacob Hyde, Peter Cox again behind him. As we're coming down into turn 4, turn 5 very shortly, guys. These guys have been neck and neck. We got Jacob Hyde 0.1 seconds in front of us. Peter Cox 0.1 behind us as well. So they are literally, you can, as the saying goes, throw a blanket over the free. This has been absolutely amazing at the moment. We've got Gary Bacon there as well. He's still tucked up behind Jacob Hyde with Peter Cox in the back as well. There he is, the car 53 as we're heading down into 9, 10 and 11. See, we've still got Sam, and it looks like it's going to be a real struggle for Lee, Sean. I'm not going to lie, Lee looks like he's going to really struggle to get past him. Is he going to be now sitting back waiting for the pit stops that we're going to see in probably 15, 20 minutes time?
Yeah, I mean, if it were me behind that car, I know I'm not going to have the pace to get past. I'm just sitting behind, I'm waiting, I'm going to be planning for the pit stop. Either pull out the extra lap or try and box quicker than him. That's really all you can do. Going back to Gary Bacon there, we were just watching him. He seems to have had a slow last couple of laps. He's hemorrhaged places and time on the track. So I'm not quite sure whether he's had a technical issue or he's feeling the car, but he's not on pace at the moment. That's why he's dropped 2 positions in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he did a 146.8 in the last one with Mark Johnson, Jacob Hyde and the Masters doing 145.3s, 145.4s respectively. So we're looking at Gary Bacon. Now, are we going to be sitting here then saying, Sean, that this is where we said about not much overtaken? Are they all going to be looking for pit stops, do you think? Or is somebody going to be making a move? Because there isn't really a massive gap between all of these cars. Do you think the pit stops, the undercut, the overcut? If you had a choice of sitting in this Ferrari, which one would you look at doing?
It's all about risk and reward, I think. It's so difficult to get the pass on when these guys are all evenly matched. You saw last week at Road Atlanta how evenly matched the lap times were. And same again, these guys are so close on track. It's just the case of sitting and waiting and hoping for a mistake. The guys at the back are going to make more places than the guys at the front. It's more guys to get past because they are so close. You've got pretty much the entire field in 4 or 5 corners already still with 50 minutes gone.
Yeah, we got a few stragglers at the back there. Joe Amos is on his recovery as well. Joe Newman, and we've also got Chris Byram is on the recovery as well. Now, back markers on here is not a very wide track as we see there. Are they going to play a part to the point of where they're going to be in the way, or are they going to be trying to jump out of the way as quickly as possible, John? Because it isn't very wide at all, this track, is it?
Oh, no, it's not. I think you just saw it there. I think it was Anstis there on the outside, car 32. You can see it's pulled right wide there as well. He has just lost a bucket of time in that second to last corner of turn 13. But at the same time, he's slowed down every single car that's come past him as well. Yeah, the back markers really are going to play a role. Hopefully it'll stay clean and they do help facilitate the move. There's certain rules within the GT3 League that tells them exactly how they should approach being overtaken. So as long as they adhere to those, it should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, as we see there, we've got Steve Masters now on the right-hand side of your picture. We've got Mark Johnson on our outside as we come round into 5, 6 and 7. Now, these guys have been battling all the way through. You've got 2 Ferraris there, 2 different liveries, but are looking absolutely amazing tonight. We've got Van der Wittenborg out, unfortunately. Sanford's out, Damien G's out, Capone's out, and Jake Cheryl is out as well. We're still on board. We've got Xander Hill 1.4 seconds ahead of us as we go on board with Dave Hodgkiss. Still trying to chase Richard Jett. We're down to 0.58 seconds as we head down into 13 and 14. It looks like, guys, to be honest, that we're going to be one by one all the way up into the pit stops. This track seems to bring a very difficult way for these guys to overtake. And unless, as you've seen, unless Dave Hodgkiss is tucked right up to the back of Richard Jeep, or is Richard's going to make an error? I think we're going to be, well, to use the phrase, line astern all the way around the track, Sean.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why you haven't had decent multi-class racing around this track for almost a decade. It just does not help facilitate any passing whatsoever. It's a great track, it's a historic track, it's been used in Formula 1 now for what, 25 plus years, but it's not suited to GT cars at all, and we can see this. There's just nothing to help them pass around this track.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, unfortunately, guys, that does unfortunately facilitate that they're going to be literally one by one all the way through. We've got Dave Hodgkiss still in third, Shane Abbott fourth, Dan Blackwell fifth, Murray Luca is up to sixth, Sam Coggrave is up in an excellent 9 places, he's in 7th, Lee Green in 8th, Patrick Faulkner in 10th there, and Stephen Masters in 11th. We're still on board with Dave, we're still on chasing down Richard as much as we can possibly can, coming into 9 and 10. I don't see this really kind of changing, Sean. I can't see this top 10, top 15 lineup changing up until the pit stops, to be honest.
Yeah, we discussed this before we came on today. It really is exactly as we thought. It's all going to be down to the pit stops. Let's have a look at standing because Lee's still pushing it. Maybe there'll be a mistake.
Yeah, so we've got to jump on board with Sam. We're coming down that short straight between turn and 11 and 12. Going into that tricky section. Lee goes up the inside. Sam takes the line, but unfortunately that's back to Lee, right up into the back of Patrick Faulkner. Patrick goes to take the inside line coming into 13. Again, unfortunately for Lee, he went for the move on Sam and unfortunately lost the move to Patrick there. That just goes to show when you are in a freeway battle like this, that middle car really is in danger from trying to take Sam, like as we see with Lee here. He tried to go for Sam, the move didn't come off and it left him wide open to Patrick, Sean.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's all about risk and reward, and in that case he risked it and he did not get the reward, but Patrick did, and Lee's now got to fight past 2 cars to get into that P7 spot.
Yeah, I think now from Lee's point of view, I think I would be really looking at this, working out whether or not the undercut is on or not. There's quite a lot of clean air as we see the bunch of the cars from 10 to 15 going down into turn 3. What sort of average pit times are we looking at, Sean, for this evening?
Well, you're going to be going through the pits in about 40 seconds or so, and then you're going to have a 18-second stop for fuel if you calculate it badly, quicker if you're not. So it really does depend on that entrance and exit. I mean, these guys are all going to be refueling about the same amount anyway.
Yeah, I think if Lee comes out now, that would drop him to the tail end of 17, which from where Lee is, as we can see, they're going down the short straight into 11 and 12. We're going to be looking at coming out, in between Chris Foskett and maybe Nathan Anstis. Obviously, we've got Nathan Anstis a lap down at the moment. So really, would it benefit Lee to be looking at taking that undercut before it sort of, the race sort of gets into the main pit stop zone, Sean?
Well, this is the difference, isn't it? If you're doing team racing and you've got your teammate there and he's looking at the track map and he's calculating where the times are, as we see a couple of guys coming already, they'll be able to help you find that clean air. But when you're on your own, maybe you don't even have the track map up. It's a lot harder to work it out, and it's almost like a blind risk when these guys come in.
Yeah, as we see, we've got Stephen Masters, Gary Bacon in the pits at the moment. We've got Peter Cox there being very defensive from Mark Jennings going down into turn 1 at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's keep an eye on these pit stop times, guys, and see what we can go for the information. But Patrick Faulkner has got power, Sam Congrave there as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he managed that as we're heading up into turn 3 and turn 4. There we go. Down into turn 1, I believe, that Patrick really put Sam under pressure. He goes to the right-hand side and just...
There we go.
Well, yeah, it looked like Sam just kind of let him through almost on that one, Sean.
Yeah, he was a little bit further ahead by the time the apex came. So we saw when Lee was doing it, he was further back and he was making that dive in. It meant that the Mercedes was able to power out round the outside. The BMW didn't really give him that chance at all, and that's why we saw that overtake work.
Yeah, so well done, Patrick. So Patrick is now at the front of the 3. We've got Sam Coggrave behind us, Lee Green. Mark Johnson, who has dropping back now with 3.5 seconds back down the road now. So Lee is at the back of the 3, guys, as we're heading down into 14, turn 13 and 14. He's still not making a massive difference, and he is pushing on to Sam, but then again, it leaves him, as we've seen before, Sean, he tried it and ended up dropping back. Sam looks a bit slidey coming out of that corner. He's done it for the last couple of laps. Is he pushing that hard that he's not doing his tyres any favours this early on?
The tyres in the GT3s this season tend to work a bit more in cycles than they did previously, when they just dropped off a cliff. So it could be the case where he has just worked them quite hard trying to defend from Patrick in the last lap. But there we go, you can see again, Lee's gone for the apex there. He's late, and because he's late, the Merc's gone back around the outside. I think the real winner here is Patrick. He's starting to pull away from these two now.
Yeah, he's opened up a 0.74 gap there from Lee Green. So again, he's got about 0.3 from Sam as he pushes on. Lee runs wide there, unfortunately, as we jump on board with Peter Cox. He's had a little bit of an accident coming off turn 14. There he goes, too much acceleration. Round you go. No! Oh, and unfortunately, that's Mark Jennings just... Well, but nowhere to go really, Sean, was there for Mark? He just kind of come around the corner and Peter was there in the middle.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, look, there we go, Lee's dropped off a bit more. It's one of those, they say it's an iRacing thing, but he's gone round that corner and he's felt the car go, the car started to go, and he hasn't picked it up in time, and he's kept his foot a bit too long. He hasn't come to the brake, and the car's just gone round on him. He's left on the racing line, there's nothing he could have done. And unfortunately, he got the other side as well.
Yeah, I think that's what sometimes that's hard to explain to people. Like when you have gone across that way, you are sat in the middle of the track. You've kind of the saying would be to kind of stay where you are, because then the cars can go round them. But if you're in this position where you can't physically see what's round that corner, you know, as we can see there from Lee, it's a bit hard to try and gauge what you should do when you spin, Sean. I always find it a tricky one whether or not I should move, not move, stay where I am. What's your take on it all?
It depends on the situation, it really does. I mean, if you're spinning outside of a corner and there's only one racing line, like there was there's not much you can do. That's where the relative really comes in handy. You can see how much time you've got. But the idea is to hopefully try and get off the racing line as quick as possible. But everyone's told to pin the brake, and that's exactly what Peter did. It's just a very tough situation, and there was really no helping anyone in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's so many kind of different things, different situations. As you say, the relative plays a massive part to see if you've got that time to move it, or as you just say, hopefully, you know, the guys, when they get a shout from the crew chief that says yellow flag, you know, actually back off and try and move. But unfortunately for Peter there, he just really didn't have anywhere to go with Mark coming round the corner. So we've still got Shane Abbott in 4th place. We've got Dan Blackwell up 0.64 seconds behind us there. As we come down into turn 13, we'll be dropping down into that tricky 14 very shortly. Now the track map, as you can see, guys, makes these corners look a lot different to what they are, as we explained earlier. There we go, we've got Shane heading into the pits. We've got 17 minutes to go. Yeah, he's the first leader from the top 12 there to be heading into the pits. So we'll see how long Shane stays stationary for and goes through, and then we'll be able to gauge there, as we still got Xander Hill in front. Richard Jeep in 2nd, Dave Hodgkins 1st, Dan Blackwell in 4th, Murray Luca in 5th. We still got Shane in 6th, but he is in the pits at the moment. Patrick Faulkner's just taken him. Sam Coggrave, Lee Green has taken him as well. Mark Johnson, so he's down 10th, 11th at the moment. He's still dropping, unfortunately for him. But he will, looking at the map, he will look at coming out in some clean air behind 12 and 13 there, Sean. Will that do him favours then to be able to push forward? Because he hasn't got traffic, he hasn't got cars in his way. He can just literally go for it, I suppose, take his line and put in his times that he was doing.
Yeah, it looks like there's a big gap between 12 and 13. It might be a good place to come out. As I said, maybe he's got a track map and he has worked that one out himself.
Yeah, as we see him, he's coming out in 13th position now. We've still got Richard Jeep and Dave Hodgkins close together. But we have got Shane Abbott, who's coming around turn 2, all on his own. He's got heaps of clean air in front. He's got heaps of clean air behind. So if he can push on now and do the 144s that he was doing flats, he's going to be there or thereabouts taking his positions, I think, Sean, isn't he?
Yeah,
He really has kind of put himself in a good position, hasn't he?
that's what it's all about. It's maximising those in laps and out laps. While he's got this clean air, while everyone else isn't in the pits, because still no one is pitted, he needs to really push on and get those 44s in.
Yeah, as we see, he's taken about 54 seconds in the pits with the pit lane entrance and the pit stop itself. The pit stop was 11.87, so it really is going to be interesting to see what Shane does now, as we see the leader has gone into the pits. Xander Hill, Richard Jeep and Dan Blackwell are all heading into the pits, and Shane, you've got to push, son, you've got to push as you come down 11 and 12. We got Murray Luca is still out at the moment. He has jumped him up into second position. Dave Hodgkins has taken the lead. We got Xander Hill still here, and Patrick Falconer, Sam Cograve has gone past him as well. As we jump on board with Shane, they're still in the pit. Shane, come on, get on your boots going round the last corner. He's going to be heading down. I think, Sean, this is going to be a very close exit for these guys, with Shane coming up behind them.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few cars on this turn one here. Might get out just ahead, I think. It's quite a short exit. There they are.
Yeah, there you go. Look, unfortunately for Shane Abbott, he drops out behind Richard there. But it's more important to notice. Richard's got in front of Xander Hill there. That's more important. Richard took an 11.6 pit stop. Xander did a 13.4. So he's 2 seconds slower in the pits there. Is that driver error, or is it just something that Xander knows that Richard doesn't know, Sean? How does that sort of work where we're 2 seconds slower in the pits?
Well, that's a difference of about 6 litres of fuel there. So that could be that could just be the way that they've set their fuel up. It's very easy because a lot of the guys are relying on all sorts of tools. Take a crew chief, for example. You can set the percentage over 100% remaining laps for your fuel. If someone set that more accurately than someone else for this track, they're going to make up that time. So that's 6 litres difference, and that could be the difference in the race there. I mean, it's now up to Hill to chase him down and overtake him. It could be a good final few laps.
Yeah, we've got Dave Hodgkins is in the pits now. Murray Luca's just gone into the pits as well. I'm expected to see Patrick Falconer, Sam Cograve. There you go. As we jump on, we've got Richard now. He's going to be heading round turn 13. Turn 14. I think Richard may take the lead on this race. We were looking at Shane Abbott to see where Shane is as well. He is just heading down past the 14 mark. So it's going to be very close where these guys all head out. As we see Peter Cox has gone through. We got Dan Richards gone through as well. Xander Hill's gone through. Did Shane jump the guys as well? As he's heading down the start finish straight. There is Shane in the background. As he comes down now, has we got anybody on our right? He has. He's jumped up into 4th place. Good job, you, sir. We've got Xander Hill 3.7 seconds up the road. And there's still, some of the guys have really taken these 13, 12, 13 second pit stops there. It seems to be a real difficult one if they are using so many different tools, Sean. How do you know, where do you look at and say, right, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that, or are you really trusting your crew chief?
It depends how much time you've got to practice, to be honest. A lot of guys will just use the default settings in any of these apps they may use. There's other apps, there's not just crew chief. Some of the more thorough drivers will be doing a long stint practice, and they'll be checking their fuel usage, and they'll be knowing exactly to the half litre where their fuel needs to be for these stops, and they'll set the cars up for that. It really does depend on where you are in traffic, particularly around here. You've got the drafting, which is massive, which can make a change to the fuel. But I would say the guys that have practiced and planned, maybe done the officials, are going to be in a better spot.
Right, so we jump aboard with Peter Cox now. Don't, guys, forget that Peter hasn't stopped at the moment. Copsy1701 on Twitch chat. Go on, Abbott. He is up in 4th place and doing an absolute stellar job. As we see Peter Cox jumping into the pits there. That releases Richard and Xander. Now, we're very unusual that we've seen Xander tucked up behind Richard, but Richard jumped him in the pit stops there as we're coming down the start-finish straight. We are Richard Jeep in first, Xander Hill in second. Shane Abbott now is up to an absolutely incredible 3rd place after taking that early pit stop. Dan Blackwell in 4th. Peter Cox is still in 5th, but don't forget he's in the pits. Murray Lucas should jump up into 5th place. There we go. Sam Cograve up, should go up into 6th. Patrick Falconer 7th. Joe Newman 8th. Lee Green 9th. Dave Hodgkins 10th. we're expecting Peter Cox to be coming out round about 15th, 16th, 17th place, unfortunately for him. But Patrick has also lost a position to Sam in the pits there, Sean.
Yeah, I've just noticed that, and also 2 cars behind Patrick is Lee Green. He's lost another spot this time in the pits. So maybe all that pushing he did earlier on is costing.
Yeah, we got Joe Newman is on my tower for pit stops. I've gone down at 8.8 seconds there. I'm not quite sure what you're showing, Sean, but he seems to have gone about 3 to 4 seconds quicker than anybody else in the pit stops.
Yeah, but he did, looking at this, pit on lap 5. So he's got another stop to come.
So he's out of position at the moment now. I was going to say, Joe, you're going to be pushing it.
Unless he's done a reverse strategy, and this is actually where he is. Which isn't bad.
No, it's absolutely incredible. But I looked at his pit lane, so I think I'm a little bit worried there. He's only topped up 8.8 seconds, and I was going to say he's not going to get it to the end on that. But we have got Sam Coggrave. He is up an absolutely amazing 10 places. Patrick Falconer is also up 10 places, as these guys are really, really leaning on each other as they go round 13, coming down into 14. Sam's looking a bit more stable in his car there, Sean. I think maybe the tyres are coming a little bit back to him as we get to just under 9 minutes left.
Yeah, well, we've already seen Patrick go past him once into turn 1 again. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe in this lap, in fact, he does try again. He might be a bit far away. Maybe next time round.
Yeah, as we have got him, he's only 0.2 seconds back. He pulls out at the moment, shows Sam his nose and tucks back in, but Sam runs wide and Patrick goes up the inside now. Are they going to be carrying on? They go head down into turn 2. They are side by side. Sam on the right as you look at the screen, guys. Patrick on the left in the BMW, brightly coloured there. As we go down, he slots back in behind Sam again, but he looks like he's got a better exit as we're heading now up to turn 4, up that straight up into turn 3 from 4, sorry, and as we're going up the hill now, as we've still got Patrick Falconer tucked up behind Sam Coggrave. We're going round into 4, we're going to be heading down into 5 now, and we've got Joe Newman as well, Lee Green, Dave Hotchkiss, Mark Johnson are all very, very close. You can see the group of 5 there with Mark bringing up the rear. Are we going to be now looking at 8 minutes to go? These guys are going to be looking to make moves, Sean, aren't they? And I think that's where the mistakes can happen in these last 8 minutes.
Yeah, there's no reliance on pit stops anymore. This really is it. I was thinking, as Patrick made that move into turn 1, he was a bit too far away, and all he's done there is pulled those 2 cars, even though they have now pulled a bit of a gap out, back into those guys fighting behind. So it's a bit of a dangerous strategy there, I think.
Yeah, as we see now, Sam still in front of Patrick. We've got Joe Newman still tucked into the middle. We've got Richard Jeep now is defending from Xander Hill as we're looking at the screen. Richard in your front, Xander Hill behind. Xander makes, looking at making a move, but doesn't make it stick, but gets a lot better exit from Richard coming up, heading up into 2 now with 0.35 seconds back from Richard to Xander. Is going to be looking at making moves now with 7, just coming up to 7 seconds to go there. We got Lee Green, Patrick Falconer, Sam Coggrave in the group there. Sam at the front, Lee going up the inside of Dave Hotchkiss. Is they going to make it stick? Dave has got a better run on the outside as we're heading down into 2. Dave on our right, Lee on our left as we're going down into turn 2, and I think Dave has made that one stick there. That's dropped down Lee, who has now got Mark Johnson, who's up in an amazing 5 places, and Jacob Hyde, who's up an amazing 7 places. Now, sure, we said overtaking looked to be impossible, but coming in these last 7 minutes, these guys are really sort of pushing them overtakes and sticking their noses in, aren't they?
Yeah, it comes down to desperation now, I think. They've had their opportunity, and we saw there, and you see it in F1 every year. What you tend to do is you tend to get that guy who's coming into T1. He takes that early apex, he comes in narrow, but he doesn't get the drive into turn 2, and that's exactly what's happened there to Lee. 3rd time now that same thing's happened to him. Maybe he should change it up a bit.
Yeah, I think you should have a look at maybe coming in a little bit different into that corner there. Unfortunately for Lee, is now Sam Coggrave. We've got Patrick Faulkner, Dave Hotchkiss, Lee Green, Mark Johnson. As we're looking at this Sam Coggrave, Patrick Faulkner battle, these guys have been going backwards and forwards all the way through the race. We did have Patrick in front, and then Sam jumped Patrick in the pit stops. And then there we go, we're going round 13. We've got Patrick right behind us, heading down into 14. Patrick takes that different and shows his nose, takes a lot wider line. He's going to be looking to picking up the speed there, guys. He full throttles now. He's going to be going through the gears all the way down, probably up into 6th gear at the end of the straight. As we're coming up, we are literally tucked up behind Sam now. We are literally 0.18 seconds back. Sam on our left, Patrick on our right. As we're heading down into turn 1, Sam looks like he's taking it very gingerly there, going round turn 1. That's brought Patrick under pressure from Dave Hotchkiss there. He's pushed on from Lee Green there, Sean. He's pulled out to about nearly half a second on Lee already.
Yeah, a bit of surprise really, because Sam's now slowing the pace right down, and we're almost in the 46s with the defending that he's doing there.
Yeah, but that in turn is going to unfortunately put everybody in that 5 group there under pressure, put the car guy behind, and you're not going to want to miss what happens here, guys. We come down into the last 4 minutes 45 seconds as we're going down into 6, coming from 7 into 8, and we'll be dropping all the way down. We're going, boys. Richard is still in front of Xander Hill now as we're going down into the turn 13. We'll be looking at going round 14 momentarily, guys, as we're heading back down the straight. Are we going to see the 2 different lines again? Is Xander going to be looking at taking a bit of a late? And oh no, he just kind of follows the same line now. Richard's pulled out half a second, Sean, and I don't think it's going to be this lap that we're going to be seeing a move from Xander Hill.
No, I think that's it for this lap now. He'll have to wait till next time.
Now, as we're coming back on board again with Patrick Faulkner, who's managed to get past Sam Coggrave there. I'm guessing that's probably down into 13, down the short little straight, yeah, down into 12, there we go. Patrick looks like he just kind of sees Sam leave the door open, and you can't do that, Sam. You can't do that and give Patrick a second sniff, because he will take it as there he has.
Yeah,
so we get down.
Sam broke a little bit too late there, and it cost him on the apex.
Yeah, as he tries to go round the outside of turn 1, that's going to jeopardise him with Dave Hotchkiss coming up the inside, or heading up into 2 now. Looks like he's got a lot better drive. Sam, you got to go out on the right there, defend that position. As we're dropping down coming through into 2, we're going to be heading out as well, past that little right-hander, which is they call turn 3. We've still got Jacob Hyde, Dave Hotchkiss, sorry, up on the back of Sam Coggrave. As we're heading down into 4, going round 5, it's looking like Sam's kind of having a little bit of a wobbly moment there, Sean, with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I don't know if he's had the best of his tyres, to be honest. I think we're going to see Patrick put away now, and Sam's going to have to defend against these next 3 cars.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Dave can keep Lee behind him. Lee's got Mark Johnson, and then we've got Jacob Hyde in the train as well. So Sam is dropped down. He had a bit of a bad lap on that last one. We did a 1:46.49 now. We got Richard Jeep still out with Xander Hill. Xander Hill now is a lot closer. He's 0.15 seconds closer than he was before. As we're heading down the start-finish straight with Xander Hill tucked up behind us now. We've got 0.33, 31. We are closing, but not at a rapid pace. I can't see him making this move into turn 1. I think it's going to be a stick and hold as we go 2 minutes to go, Sean. Is Xander now going to be looking to get frustrated? 2 minutes plus a lap. Has he got to really just keep his cool?
It's a tough one. It's a 6-round championship. Second place here is still doing well for points. If he does knock Richard, there's every chance that Shane and Dan behind can take those places. So he might be better off just sticking where he is.
Yeah, but as we said before, Sean, these are racing drivers. We don't stick. Second place is not winning. And when you've led the race all the way up into the pit stop, surely Xander's going to be looking to take the move, isn't it? I would have thought.
Oh, yeah. The racing driver spirit would definitely take hold of it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing now. We've got Sam Coggrave. Patrick Faulkner has opened up a little bit of a 0.7 second gap over us as we are heading into the 6 and 7 now. We've got Lee Green, Mark Johnson, Jacob Hyde still all close together. We got Stephen Masters who's bringing up that gap as well. He's only 1.4 seconds back as we got 1 minute to go. 1 minute, 10 seconds and a lap, guys. And we're going Mark Johnson as we're coming down into, we're in 8. Going down into 9. Richard still out in front at the moment. Let's have a quick round up at the top 10. Richard Jeep, Xander Hill, Shane Abbott, Dan Blackwell, Murray Luca in 5th. Patrick Falconer 6th, Sam Coggrave 7th, Dave Hotchkiss 8th, Lee Green 9th, Mark Johnson rounding up the top 10 there. We got Richard 0.48 seconds again, heads to the right hand of the track. It's 1 lap, guys. We have got 1 lap remaining. They are on their final lap. Now, Richard's only really, Sean, has got to keep him in front for turn 1. And wouldn't you say? Turn 1?
Yeah, turn 1, then it's done.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. As long as Richard doesn't make any mistakes, guys, this race is going to be his. As we jump with Dave Hotchkiss now, he can obviously see the white flag. We've got Sam Coggrave still in front of us. He has been backing these guys up, guys. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars within about a 2-second gap there. As we've got Mark Johnson, Lee Green, Jacob Hyde, Dave Hotchkiss, Sam Coggrave as well. We're under the last lap. And it still looks like Richard's been keeping Xander in front, which is absolutely amazing now as we're heading down into 6, 7 and 8 on this very tricky infield section. Sean, I've got to be honest, I would not want to be in the car last lap going through this section.
No, definitely not. It looks like Rich is really slowing things up as well. He's hoping, I think, that there is no chance for Xander Hill to get past.
Yeah, I think the remaining chances, we're going to have a short little straight between 11, 12, and then we're going to be dropping down into 13, 14. As we see Chris Foskett there in the 611 car with Stephen Masters and Gary Bacon. He's been trying to get past as we're going down into that infield section again of 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so we've got Richard Jeep coming around the last corner. We're going to just jump on it with him. Xander gives him a flash. I think Xander knows this is done, guys. And your second race of the season winner in pros go to Richard Jeep with Xander Hill second. We have got, there he is, Shane Abbott in third, who took that absolute amazing early pit stop. Dan Blackwell in 4th now. Now, to be fair, Murray Lucas in 5th, Sean. He's had a very quiet race this week. I don't think we've seen him really sort of pay much attention to him. But he done 5th. He got 5th, didn't he?
I think that's the second time we've seen him all race, to be honest.
Yeah. Patrick Falconer leads the group. Sam Coggrave 7th. Dave Hotchkiss 8th. Lee Green 9th. Mark Johnson 10th. Jacob Hyde. Stephen Masters. Gary Bacon. Peter Cox and Mark Jennings. And then we got Nathan Anstis 17th. Chris Byron 18th. Joel Amos a lap down in 19th position. It showed through this race, Sean, didn't it, that overtaking is very difficult. We've had, 2, 4, 6 cars drop out. Are we looking at a different race than what the elites are going to give us, or do you think we're going to be looking at the kind of the same story as such?
I think what we'll get is we'll get a very similar story, but I think there'll be a little bit more attitude to the elite drivers in their race.
Attitude. Yeah, let's just say determination, and I think that's going to be absolutely that one there, guys, as well. So as the last cars come round, yes, Murray, go on, Cy Anthony, Bickley Motorsport, great racing. Nuke 4 NE13, thanks for the follow on Twitch. XRL, thanks for the follow. IR UK, he's done. It won well, yeah. Abbott has impressed me this race, he definitely has. And Tesla 0810, thanks for the follow, and AGROC, thanks for the follow. So here it is, guys, your race results for the second race of the season live at the Hungaroring. We've got Richard Cheap in first, Xander Hill second, Shane Abbott an amazing third place, Dan Blackwell 4th, Murray Luca 5th, Patrick Falconer 6th, Sam Coggrave 7th, Dave Hotchkiss 8th, Lee Green 9th, Mark Johnson 10th, Jacob Hyde 11th, Stephen Masters 12th, Chris Foskett 13th, Gary Bacon 14th, Peter Cox 15th, Mark Jennings 16th, Nathan Anstis 17th, Chris Byron 18th, Joel Amos in 19th, and then I think Joe is the last runner, I believe. We've still got Joe Newman in the pits as well, Rob Sanford, Finn Van Den, and then Damien G and Anthony Capone are all out of the race, unfortunately. Wow. So let's have a look at the championship standings. After round 2, we got Richard Jeep in first place on 40 points. Xander Hill in second, Shane Abbott third, Dan Blackwell fourth, Murray Luca fifth, Patrick Falconer sixth, Sam Codgrave seventh, Dave Hodgkiss eighth, Lee Green ninth, Mark Johnson in 10th, Jacob Hyde in 11th, and that rounds out our top 10, guys. Okay. Well, it wasn't the highlight of last week, but I suppose these drivers did what they had to do, Sean, on this tricky circuit.
Yeah. It's as I said at the beginning, it's really about the practice that they got in, trying to keep it on the track and maximising the pit stops. As we saw, the guy that won the race had a pit stop that was 2 seconds quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Right, guys, we're just going to jump into a quick intermission while we swap over there. Let's get some, get in there, Richard Jeep. Jebbo, yeah, Richard Simnar. Richard? You know, he's done well. He's now at first place as well in the championship standings there. So don't forget, guys, as well, if you are following us on YouTube, you can hit that subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. Turn on the bell for notifications of when we go live, guys. That will thank you so much. And if you are on Twitch as well, it is completely free to follow, so it would be much appreciated if you can hit that follow button for us, and that will be absolutely epic. Now, And welcome back there, guys. We have now jumped into the elite session after our little short break. I was grabbing a drink, Sean was grabbing a drink as well. Hope you enjoyed the whole screen and the music there. Now coming in, we've just seen the pros, Sean, and we said that it was kind of going to be the same type of story, but maybe just with a little bit more determination from these guys. Emphasize exactly what you meant by the determination side of things.
I think that the guys here, they're running 2-3 seconds a lap faster at the top end of the grid. I think there's going to be a lot more aggression in the driving. I think they'll be pushing those spaces a lot more tactically. They'll have watched the last race, they'll have seen where moves came off, they'll have seen where moves didn't work, and I think they'll be learning from that. And we're going to see at least a lot more attempts at putting pressure on these drivers to try and get the best out of the race.
Now, I must also as well, first off, I'm going to give Damien 540 a massive shout out. He's just subscribed for 4 months in a row on Twitch, so much love to you. Now, Sean, I think we were discussing Dave Larson's skin, wasn't we, on his Ghostbusters car. Now, as predicted, Sean, I got a DM from Dave after the race who has informed me that is actually the Ecto 1 livery on the car. I think my Ghostbusters memory fails me, but I think that's probably the very first one they put on. Dave Lawson, I apologise there, sir, for doubting your ability to make a Ghostbusters car, as we just watched you put it into the barrier, which is unfortunate. So I'm sorry, Dave, for saying you had half a Ghostbusters skin, and I fully appreciate that you do actually have the Ecto 1 skin. I just thought I'd get that out of the way, Sean. It was a little private DM from Dave there as well. So we've got Cy Anthony on board. Now, Cy in the last round had a very eventful opening 20 minutes, did we say? Do we think we're going to see a lot more of a Cy Anthony we're used to this week than what we saw last week, Sean?
Well, last week was really, really tricky, wasn't it? It was Road Atlanta and it was dark. This was before they'd done Petit Le Mans. I mean, if it was dark and Road Atlanta this week, these guys would have probably raced it over the weekend anyway, so that would have been a lot easier for them. But for the first round of a championship, to come in, it's dark. Some of the guys hadn't raced that track before. There were just some difficulties with the line as well. And iRacing, as iRacing do, supplied a nice little update the week before. The drivers got in on the track as well, and added lighting for them. So hopefully, that because this track hasn't changed since it was introduced just a few weeks ago, it should be easier for Cy.
Hopefully we should have a lot more of a Cy Anthony race that we are used to, guys. We've got Jonathan Hitchin topping the timing tower at the moment. We're 142.16. Dom Roberts, as we're coming round the last corner, has done a 142.55. Tom Tennant at a 142.7. Nathan Willoughby in the fastest McLaren in the field there, doing a 142.74. Good job to you, Nathan. Chris Hitchin is at 142.9. Oh, blimey. James Ackerman 143. Cy Anthony 143. With 143 for Josh Pratt, Stuart Bickley, Richard, Will Goldburn, Richard Sinner, and Damien Lobbett, as it was pointed out to me this week as well. So we're seeing a sort of, I don't know, what we're looking at, probably a second, maybe a second and a half there in the top 10. Do you think as the race goes on that gap will close, or are we going to watch John Hitchin, Dom Roberts, Tom Tennant and maybe Nathan Willoughby run away with this race?
I think we're going to see whoever qualifies top just really run away with it, I think. Unless the guys can keep up with him behind. He's got that fresh air. And it's all up to the followers to make up that time and try and make those moves. As I said earlier, the more pressure they put on, the easier it's going to be for them. But then there's that tie-off between the pressure you put on and how you're looking after your car as well, because as we saw near the end of the race, just in the pros, it looks like Xander Hill's tyres were going off by the last couple of laps.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting decision for these guys. I don't think they're going to be taking tyres, but I think they're going to be looking at possibly, just kind of not backing off. I'm not going to say back off. I think it's just going to be taking it consistent. I think looking at consistent 42s, consistently 43s, rather than scrubbing your tyres, maybe getting below 42, but then coming back out to a 43. I think it's going to be that trade-off, Sean, isn't it? That consistency that doesn't ruin your tyres at the same time.
Yeah, and I think what you'll see is longer trains in this race. You'll see the guys being appreciative that the fuel really does matter in the box time. It really does matter. And it's all going to change when they come out the biz, like it did in the last race.
Yeah, we got Dave Contos is setting down in a 1:43.8. Now, it may seem slow, guys, but when you are looking at barely a second gap between Dave Contos in 15th and James Ackland, give or take, in 5th, it's a really, temps can make a absolute difference. Chris Ediford in Twitch. Go on, Nathan. He is currently in the timing tower. Now, to be fair, actually, Sean, maybe we're looking at a bit of a dark horse with Nathan this week, because he is so good at this defensive driving that we've seen last season through Long Beach. He did an absolutely stellar job. If he can put this car up or nearabouts the front, I think he's going to be in with a good shout this week. I think with the way his driving is, don't you think?
Yeah, he's very good at holding his position on track, and if he qualifies well, and he's quick enough to qualify on the front row for sure. It's going to be harder to pass. It's going to be harder for people to pass him than for most.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't see, unfortunately, some of the slight errors that we've seen from Nathan previously, as we saw at Long Beach, that little bit of a deep run there, as we're just there now with Charlie Bebb in the BMW. Now, obviously, Charlie's come over. He was in the BMW last year, wasn't he, if I remember correctly, as well. So he should be used to this car and used to the curb, should we say, hopping that this car allows you to do. Now, as we've discussed previously, Sean, on the broadcast last week, I think there's certain cars that you can take the curbs, and there's certain cars that you really should be looking at staying off them. And I think James Armstrong was the biggest one last week that we saw in Road Atlanta, wasn't he? Where he was just really using that Lambo like a BMW when he can't really do that in a Lambo, can you, as such?
No, they're not a fan of the curb, the old Lambos. They're unlike the BMWs, as you mentioned. The curbs aren't as big as they were last week as well, so they're going to be a lot easier to ride. Other than that sausage curb out of the chicane, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. You might get, as you've seen Will go through that turn 12 there, that curb is a bit of a braking zone, so you could see some cars slip on there. But other than that, they should be fine.
Yeah, I've got Will Goulburn, who's doing a 1:43.43. He's 3,000 slower than Stuart Bickley in front at the moment. But as you say, we are still in this practice session at the moment. It's going to be very interesting to see how the qualifying goes, and if we're going to see Johnny Hitchin, who we're so accustomed to being at the front with Don Roberts there, whether or not it's going to be these guys in a 1-2 just in reverse from last week. That was such an epic battle, guys. If any of you missed the Road Atlanta, please go back and watch it, because you will not be disappointed from these guys last week. It was absolutely incredible racing. And, it's obviously, I think you're in the background last week, Sean. So, did you get the same vibes from the racing as Wheel did being at the front? Because it was quite incredible racing last week.
You've got that anticipation of the first round of the season as well. Everyone's eager to make an impression. And being only 6 rounds, every single set of points counts there, as we see someone go off in the background. And all the drivers was really eager to really show what they can do, and that made for some really good racing. Road Atlanta is a completely different track to this. There's obviously been a lot of talk about passing at Road Atlanta this week with Petty and Le Mans just passing. But really, there are a lot of parking spaces compared to this place there. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's definitely worth the view.
Yeah, absolutely. As we got, let's go Beb on in Twitch chat there at the moment. We got Charlie Beb down in 20th position on a 144.23 in his BMW. Go on, Nathan, he's plugging away there as well. Follow Dave2502. Thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. And Carl Cranswick there. Big Willie G for the win. Ooh. Well, Will Gomez in 10th there, Carl. He's going to have to look at really pushing his lap time. He's on a 143.41 at the moment. 1,000's back from Stuart Bickley and another 4,000 back as well from Josh Pratt. So he's got to be good. He's got to be having a good old. He's got to be pushing it there, Carl. I think to try and get the win, unless these guys have an unfortunate, should we say, off. And we did see, I think there were 6 cars dropped out in the last race, Sean. Would you say we're looking at a few cars disappearing out of this race, or are we saying these guys are going to be a bit more, I've done 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 practice laps, I should be fine? Do you think we're going to see the same dropouts as we did in the last one?
Do you know, these guys are going to be racing a lot closer. I can see the top 10 being within a couple of seconds. And if anyone puts it on the grass or hits the curb, particularly as we saw happen in the last race where the Ford took out 2 other cars by just slipping on that drain cover, you're going to take out more cars because these guys really will be running closer. So it's just going to be down to luck.
Oh, I think, guys, good luck all drop week from me. Buzz Races, yes, it is for you, sir. Patrick Falconer, come on, Simler. Well done, Patrick, in the last race there, sir. Good, absolutely nice, clean racing. And, guys, if I was you, I would literally buckle my seat into my chair. I would get my drink, I would get my popcorn, and I would sit back and literally revel in what you are about to see. This is going to be absolutely amazing. And as we say, one single slip on the grass, one single tyre in the wrong place, and with these guys going to be so close together, it could be, how can I put it politely, Sean? Help me out. What could we have?
Well, if there's a mistake, let's just say there might be a few protests coming their way.
Yes, I think that, let's just say that's let's go with that, you know what I mean? He's gotten so quick. Come on, Nate. Yes, Carl, he has, but he's still down in 10th, unfortunately. Patrick, cheers, guys. No worries, sir. Credit where credit due. It was a very good race between you and Sam in the last one. Pleased to see you in. Thank you very much for jumping in. I'm not quite sure after that race I would have been jumping in. I probably would have been sat back, having a cup of tea with my feet up, thinking how much my brain hurts after trying to concentrate on a circuit like this. But, you know, different build to me, mate, unfortunately. As we see, Scott Tuffy there is in 11th place at the moment with a 143.46. Welcome in, Scott, in your BMW. Cy back on board with Cy Anthony now. And I think we've just got 50 seconds to go. So, Sean, normally we don't always go for winners and losers. Are you looking at a select few of cars who you think could possibly take the win tonight?
No, I'm just going off the practice times we've got here. What we don't know is whether these guys have been practicing with race fuel or quali fuel. There's a massive range, just over 2.5 seconds between the fastest and the slowest here. If these are indicative of the qualifying times, it's got to be between the two at the top at the moment anyway. They are so hard to race against. It's going to be between Jonathan and Dominic there.
Oh, there you go, guys. Hopefully, let's hope the Sean's commentator curse this week doesn't kick in as it has done for me in so many previous weeks. So, yeah, let's hope. Carl Cranston wasn't that long ago where we were on par, couldn't get close to Nathan. No. Nate's doing very well. He's up in 4th in his McLaren at the moment. That man, Nathan, Chris Hitchin and Cyanti have some serious pace these days. Yes, they have been absolutely amazing. Bearded Sim Racer 92, much appreciated for the follow on Twitch there. Dom would do quality times with race fuel to mug me off in season 2. Okay. Well, let's see what happens in Patrick. Lowell, got to support my teammate Simnar. Love the coverage. Much appreciated to you, Patrick. As we go aboard with Gareth Measham being the first one at the moment that we are going to have a look at. We got a 15-minute qualifying, guys, as well. So as discussed previously, there is no fancy names on this circuit, guys. Unfortunately, we have turn 1, 2, 3, 4, right the way up to 14. So as you can see, at the moment, we are running with onboard Gareth Measham. We're going up into 4 and 5. And then we'll be hitting it off out into that little tricky in section that did kind of cause a little bit of problems, but not as much, I think, Sean, as we anticipated in that last race, really, did we?
Yeah, I mean, I ran the Porsche Cup here, was it last week, I think it was, and there were a lot of cars going off on that corner, on that late apex turn 5. There was just no traction on the outside at all. All the grips on that one line all the way through the corner, and I was surprised to see that it's been quite clean through there for these GT3s. Obviously the TC and the ABS on these things, and the aero of course helps them through. What will be good though is I can see here that the guys are coming around to start their first quali lap. Let's take a ride on with Jonathan Hitchin.
And we got Joe.
We'll see how he goes. So he's coming around turn 12 at the moment, and I'll run you through the lap. So there we go, he's going through turn 14 now. He's down to about 100 kilometres an hour and pushing up through the gears, second, third, fourth now, coming across the start-finish line. He'll be looking for the invisible 100-metre board. It's not there. He'll be braking just after that before the 50. Down all the way to second gear, should be slowing to about 90 kilometres an hour. It's tight, he gets on the curb on the outside and he pushes out all the way into turn 3. This one is a lot faster. You're coming in slow. Sorry, turn 2, you're coming in slow and you're trying to maximise the speed on the exit because you need to be flat out through turn 3. The car has to be balanced. You're taking a little bit of curb, you're pushing on all the way up here. Now to turn number 4. You're going to watch this curve on the exit as he's down to 4th gear. Third here in Jonathan's case. Watch out for that drain. We've seen someone spin. This is a very slow late apex corner here. You're waiting and waiting to get on the power, but you can't be on the power for too long because you're heading in towards the chicane. You're down to second gear, slowest part of the track at 95 kilometres an hour, but you're pushing past the sausage out into turn number 9 now. It's a flow corner, a flow section. You're coming all the way through. As you head out now, you're flat again through here. You're coming down into 4th gear, 4, turn 11, down into turn 12 now. You're waiting here, you've got a long run. There's no one going to come past you in qualifying. You're on your own. It's all about the apex, getting the maximum speed on the curb on the outside, up into 13. This one lasts forever. As you come round, you spotting the pit lane entrance on the way out, and you're flooring it now. But you can't go too far because you're down into 14. It's your last corner. You're waiting to put the power on. You're waiting, and here we go. Off and back towards the line as he now crosses for hopefully will be a very quick lap.
Yeah, we did a 142.59 there as well. We've got Tom Tennant now 142.92 behind us. Josh Pratt 143.57. Damien Lobbett 143.71. That rounds out your top 4 at the moment. As we see Chris Chaddington take in 5th. Adam Wright takes 6th there as well. So there is Adam as we on 144.38. So it's going to be Dave Lawson, champion last year in his class. Absolutely, I think it's going to be there or thereabouts, Sean. He's got to be a little bit considerate. He had some very bad luck in Road Atlanta. I think at one point he had all 4 wheels off the floor and was flying, bless him. But I think if he can keep that consistency up, I think he's got a good chance to the top 10 today.
Yeah, he's been saying it for four league seasons now. He is the unluckiest man in iRacing. Unless it's Interlagos, I would have to say he's probably right. Let's hope he can have a nice clean one here. I can see he's on his 2nd qualifying lap already, but he hasn't actually put a time in. So he must have had an off track somewhere in that first lap. They have 4 laps, so we'll have to see how he goes in the next couple.
Yeah, as we go, still got James Acklam now up into a 142.9. Tom Tennant in a 142.92 as well. Buzz Races just subscribed on Twitch 5 months in a row. Thank you very much for you, young sir. Much appreciated. Mark Collicott in YouTube. Good Good race earlier, Paddy. Yeah, absolutely incredible there as we jump still with Dave Lawson. Do you think about the off-track situation on this circuit? Are we looking as tight as Spa, or have we got a little bit more leniency with our off-tracks?
I'm really bad at Spa. I'm always getting off tracks over that place. This place is actually easier with the off tracks than it is Spa because it's just lower speed. Because you have to learn to wait to put the power down out of a lot of these corners. Once you've nailed that, the off tracks are few and far between.
No, that's amazing. Another. Dave Lawson must have had an off track in that lap as well, because unfortunately we didn't get a lap time registered from him as we're there. See, we got James Armstrong now. He's gone up into third place with a 142.8. We got James Ackland in front on a 142.7, and we got John Hitchin on a 142.59. Tom Tennant 142.92 in fourth. Jake Jarrell on a 143.5. Charlie Bebb in sixth. Chris Hitchin seventh. Josh Pratt in eighth. Damien Lobbett in ninth. Adam Wright 10th. Richardson 11th. Measham in, Don Roberts has just gone second with a 142.63 there. He's still, unfortunately, he's 4,000s behind, 400s behind Johnny Hitchin. So that's keeping Johnny out in front. We've got just under 8 minutes nearly coming up, and nobody's completed more than two and a half laps at the moment, guys, as well. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting last few laps to see Will Goldberg go up into 8th with a 143.52 in his Porsche there. I think we're going to be looking at low 142s. Do you think we're going to hit 141, Sean, or do you think that's a little bit out of reach this evening?
I think that's going to be a little bit out of reach, to be honest. Maybe on low fuel before the pit stops, they'll get to low 42s. One thing I have just noticed is after Dom Roberts put that lap in, was he 400th slower than Jonathan? Straight to the pits, straight on new tyres, and he's going to be back out again. So that's an interesting tactic. He's not doing what a lot of the guys are doing here, and just running 4 straight laps. He's come out, he's done his lap, he's in again, change of tyres, and he's back out. So different approach.
Now, what would you say about the warm-up of tyres? Because most people say the first lap on the tyres is a little bit hairy, and the tyres come in sort of 3-4 laps in. Now, are the guys doing the 3-4 laps consistently got a better chance than Dom, or is Dom going to be in a different position? How do you think that, like, how can we explain that to the guys at home with the tyre warm-up situation?
Do you know what? I really do think it's down to your driving technique. It depends on how you drive these cars and what car you're driving. If you've got guys that are driving hard straight out of the pits on their quality lap, they're going to burn through a lot of that rubber a lot quicker than the guys that are taking it easy on that out lap. And then again, there could be guys that just can't get the heat into those tyres, or the tyre pressure's up in time to get that first lap in and have to rely on that second lap. So it really is down to the individual driver, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm more of a conservative outlapper, I've got to be honest, Sean. I think I kind of cruise round just having a look at the scenery, picking out my points and making sure I'm sort of that way. As we see James Armstrong taking a different approach there. Unfortunately, James, that's not going to work in that Lambo. Go back to the pits, mate. Have a try again. That would be absolutely amazing. So we see Nathan Willoughby is in 7th position. Sean, are you a fast outlapper, or are you just a chill down, let's look at the scenery kind of outlap?
I am a very, very slow outlapper myself. I try and I mostly race GTEs, so it's all about getting the brake temperature up for those. So doing as little work on the tyres as possible, as much you can on the brakes. So
awesome.
Bit different approach there to the GT3s.
Yeah, Iceman Twitch chat there. James never fails to bring the excitement. No, I think he brought a lot of it last week, and he's having a little bits of moments this week, but let's hope he gets his head up. He's up into 4th place in his Lambo at the moment. So we've got a Ferrari, BMW, Lambo, BMW, Porsche, McLaren with Nathan Willoughby, BMW, and a Ferrari rounding out our top 10. So 5 BMs. Porsche, Lambos and Ferraris running out. We see Dave Contos put in a 143.66. He's up into 13th position. Jack Gerald's obviously registered down at 1.68 laps for me, Sean. I believe he's still got 2 laps to go. He's on a 143.4. 1:43.4 there. Looks like he's back in the pits, unfortunately, again. As we see, Cy Anthony's got not actually registered a lap as of yet. This is going to be one, if not, he's got one and one more after. So hopefully see Cy Anthony move up the timing table there. Johnny's improved. He's got a 1:42.29. I believe it was a 1:42.59. So Dom's definitely going to have to put the work in on this lap that we were talking about, Sean, there.
Yeah, he's just getting quicker and quicker, and I'm surprised we got into the low 42s, to be honest. Be interesting to see Cy though, because he's on his 4th lap now. He's had a number of off tracks, so he just hasn't really keyed that in this quality session. So let's watch him through, and hopefully he'll keep it clean as he goes a little bit wide there.
Yeah, as we're going up into that turn 3, turn 4, that little straight with a kink on the right hand just before turn 4 now. We'll go into the left hander. We're going to drop down into 5. He looks very wide again there, Sean. Are we going to say that could be Cy Anthony's quali done with that little bit of a wide turn?
I think that could have been, yeah, that's an off track. He stopped already. He's going to have to settle there for, what's that, 23rd place, I think.
Yeah, 23rd place for Cy Anthony. Chris Hitchin, what a lap. What are you doing in chat, sir? You're supposed to be in a race. Yes, you did a 1:43.10. Congratulations, top 6, Chris. Well done.
He's got 2 laps left.
Yeah, come on, Chris. You got 2 laps to go, son. Get on. You can improve more. Get on Twitch chat. Look at him. No, he's so confident there, Sean. He's sitting in Twitch chat watching everybody else rather than going out finishing his 2 laps to go. Oh, I don't know.
Let's see if Nathan can beat his time. He's right behind him on the board at the moment.
No, as we're coming down into turn 11, where's he gone? There he is. Down into that 11-12 straight. Nathan's right behind you, Chris, at the moment, and he's green in the first 2 sectors on a 40.55. Chris, you better get on your boots. You've got 2.5 minutes there, son. And he's just put, don't need them, lads. That's all he put in chat. So confident. So confident with yourself there, Chris. As we watch Nathan Willoughby, it's going to come round turn 14. We're going to be down. Go on, let's get on the power. As we're jumping down, going to be turn 4. Is he going to go ahead of you, Chris?
He has.
Oh, your confidence, young sir, in Twitch chat has just lost your position. You're down in 7th. Well done, Nathan Willoughby. Oh, man. The confidence of Chris Hitchin, though, there, so sure. Just sat in chat, 2 laps again. It'll be all right, lads. I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's just a different mindset. I'd be panicking by now. I've got 1.5 minutes to go. I've got 2 laps left. I'd be having like a breakdown in the corner.
Oh, yeah, I'd be using all of my laps, that's for sure.
Yeah, very confident there, Chris. Nice one. Nice lap, Nate. Yeah, credit where credit's due. He's just jumped ahead of you, Chris, on a 1:43.07 there. I don't think I can have your confidence, Chris. I'm not going to lie. As we go into the last minute now, we got Jack Terrell is the last man on the circuit. Johnny Hitchin currently in pole. Don Robertson 2nd. James Ackman 3rd. James Armstrong 4th. Tom Tennant 5th. Nathan Willoughby in 6th. Chris Hitchin 7th. Jake's currently in 8th position now. He's still got 2 laps to go. We've still got a minute. I think he might get his last one, but I don't think he's going to be going to get his next one in. Nathan in Twitch, what a mess. Dude, you did amazing. You're in 6th place. Well done for you. Chris Hitchin, Johnny will tell you his tyres will be dead on lap 3. All right, mate. Well, there you go. That's something to look forward to from Johnny's tyres are going to be dead on lap 3. No, I think we're going to be looking at a 1:42.29.
Here we go. Yeah, this is definitely the pole lap here for Jonathan. Watch him through while the end of the session comes in. It's just so tidy, isn't it, compared to what we've seen with the guys losing their tail there.
Yeah, it's just, we know from previous races with Johnny Hitchin, you're going to get that consistent, clean racing. And, you know, as I say, we refer back to Imola last year and that 34 place position comeback almost that Johnny Hitchin done. And again, guys, that is on YouTube as well. If you haven't seen that, you should definitely watch his 34 place comeback there as we go into the 4-minute warm-up. Don't forget, guys, if you've missed any of the broadcast, you can go back through the track, through the videos on YouTube and have a look. They are all worth an absolutely amazing views. You got GT3s, you got ESS, you've got F3s, something for everybody. So, guys, you know, definitely go back through and have a look. And let's have a quick chat. Chris Hitch, Imola ticked off on the bingo. Okay, mate. Thank you very much for that. Carl Cranleigh, this is exciting and all, but the AM race is one to watch. I hear last week's driver of the day will be racing. Should be special. Now, if I remember correctly, Sean, I don't think I allocated, or did you allocate a driver of the day that Carl Cranleigh seems to know more about than we do there, sir?
No, I don't remember any driver of the day. Was it something that Carl may have worked out himself?
Yeah, I think Carl, who's that? Let's have a look. Did we miss a poll there, Carl, that gave you driver of the day? I wasn't quite sure on that one. I think I must have missed the poll in chat, mate. But yeah, there you go. Have a good race all. Go Si, go David. Absolutely. Good luck all as well from Nathan Ansters. Welcome into the chat. Busby did, apparently.
Did he?
I don't. I have no idea, Carl. I don't remember that. Maybe we'll have to watch it back. There you go, Carl. Look, go watch back the broadcast and let me know if Paul Busby gave you driver of the day, or was that just in a little DM? I heard Josh Wilson was skipping next week. Not sure on that one, mate, unfortunately. But it's going to be an interesting week of racing, I think, Sean, this week. And as I say, we've got some epic battles, epic racing coming up. We will run through this as we see, is that Damien Lobbett in the background there with his very brightly coloured BMW?
Yeah, he's the only one brave enough to drive that thing.
Yeah, he's had a bit of an off now. I'm not quite sure who was involved in that warm-up as well. So, yeah, you'll have to let me know on that one, Carl. I don't remember allocating a driver of the day, but there you go. As we see Will Goldburn as well. They're just kind of, is this their stage for now, just plodding around, taking a look at it. I'm never normally one for going out in a warm-up.
No, not at all. I'm not a fan of the warm-up. It's like the 3-minute practice before the officials. I just don't feel the need to go out. There's nothing I need to do. If I'm not prepared by that point, I'm not prepared at all. I shouldn't be there.
Yeah. I think I'm normally taking this time to make a cup of tea and just sort of relax and chill out and watch these guys go round. I'm not. Oh, who was that going off down there at the moment? Was that Will Goldburn in his?
That could have been. Maybe that's the reason why these guys are doing the warm-up. Get it all out of the system. That was Tom Tennant, I believe.
Tom Tennant there in his orange-coloured car. Dan Blackwell on YouTube. Great comments again, guys. Pro race was awesome. Much appreciated. There is Tom. What actually happened to you as we go left? Oh, just too much curb. Yep. Ah. Get out of your system again. Now, isn't it?
That drain.
Yeah. That drain on that corner is.
And he's got another one there as well.
Yeah, it was Jack Jarrell there. He's gone off as well, claiming victims. Unfortunately, that corner. So we've got 1.5 minutes to go in the warm-up, guys. Let us know in chat. Are you a warm-up person, or are you a sit back, make a cup of tea, and let everybody else get on with it for 3 laps kind of person? Because me personally and Sean, we're a sit back, get a cup of tea. Let us know in chat what you do and whether or not you go out for this 5-minute or 3-minute official situation beforehand. So as you can see, guys, the broadcast cameras are provided by TrackCams22, so much love to them for providing us with these cameras. We are going to have an absolutely epic race. We have got the last 50 seconds to go in this practice section. I submit him Twitch chat, pre-match toilet or something beginning with P. Well, now at least we know what you use your warm-up for. Ricardo, use it to get back in race mode from quali setup. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, I suppose, if you've taken low fuel in a quali session. I have, however, done a couple of times in a race, Sean, I don't know about you, where I've been in quali fuel and I forgot to put it back in going into the race.
I think I did that in rookies, where I've done quali fuel before, but I can't ever remember doing it since. It's one of those things that haunts you.
Yeah, especially I think at the time I was doing an advanced Mazda MX-5, which goes over, I think it's like 25-35 minutes. And I went round, laps out, and my crew chief come on and said, "You've got 10 laps of fuel left." I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like, no, I haven't. Definitely not got that few.
Yeah, have I only got that minute? What's going on? Right, I've received 100 messages from today from Restream Chat. Well done, Restream Chat. Much appreciated to you all, guys. And I'm Jep, not Jeep. Oh, sorry, Richard. Dearie me. Another one I'm going to have to apologise for as well. Sorry, great racing. Sean, take us through the positions for the elites for round 2.
Okay, so the front row, Jonathan Hitchin, Dominic Roberts, as I said. So, so far so good for me. Then we've got Acklam, Armstrong, Tennant, Willoughby, who I thought might be a bit higher up. Chris Hitchin there, Jake Cherrell, Beeb, Bickley, Goldborn and Pratt. And then we have row number 7, Kontos and Lobbit, Messam, Wright, Simner, Chaddington, Lowerson, Tuffy, Taylor, Cullen, Hornby, Anthony at the back there, who unfortunately failed to get a lap in.
Carl Crown's with Ricardo, not Richard. Thanks, Carl. Let's not completely point out my failures this evening with getting names right. Hey, I got Lobbit right this evening, so that's all good for me. That would be a little gold star I'll get from him later when he watches the
race?
The stream, but yeah, the race back. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out. Thanks, Sean. You know what I mean? So we are on a pace lap, guys. We are coming down the straight from 11 to 12. We will be dropping down into 13 with... We've got Johnny Hitchens. He's going to be looking at... is he going to go early, Sean, do you reckon? Or is he going to leave it until as late as he possibly can? Because I'd be looking to get the jump on 14 if I could.
It depends where that pace car is. They have let it have a really big gap, haven't they? So I think he's going to nail it as soon as he's through that last part of that apex. He'll go early.
And here we go, guys. There you go. Johnny Hitchin is gone, and we are green. Season 2 Hungaroring. We are Johnny Hitchin, James Ackland, Don Roberts, James Armstrong, Tom Tennant, Jack Cherrell, Stuart Bickley, Chris Hitchin, Josh
Taylor's
Pratt,
crashed at the back
Charlie
there.
Bennett in 10 as well, as we're looking now at what's happening in the first corner. We've got James Ackland that's actually jumped Dom Roberts there, Sean, as well. So that's a bit of a surprise start. Dom didn't quite away as much as we hoped he thinks he was going to, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look back at that. There's one I want to look at, though, which is Daniel Taylor, who crashed before the line.
Oh, there we go. Daniel Taylor coming round the last corner. Did he just overfloored it, I think, and put himself into the wall? Unfortunately for you, sir, that's not a good one. We've got another off there as well. That looks like Charlie Bebb in the gravel trap as well. As we go on board with John Hitchin, here comes We Are Down with Bev at the moment. Yeah, oh, look at in the back as well. There was a massive collection of cars there. Absolutely crazy. Oh, Charlie, absolutely insane. We've got Cy Anthony is up an amazing 11 places from his starting position.
Yeah, so as I said there, James, at the start of the race, these guys are going to be really close together. And if they get too close, then they're just going to really skittle each other, and that's what's happened here.
Yeah, look, he's just under 24 there. Stuart Bickley was just collecting, well, it was he
got a strike, I think that's what you can say there.
Yeah, I think, oh no, stay where you are! Oh, that was not good, was it? Well, we've still got, let's go back to the calm end of the action now. We've got Johnny Hitchin out in front, 0.9 seconds ahead of James Ackman. He's got Dom Roberts behind him. He's got James Armstrong, Tom Tennant, Jake Cherrell's in 6th. Josh Pratt 7th, Chris Hitchin in 8th, Adam Wright in 9th. And there is Daniel Taylor. Did he get collected?
Oh, that's a protest.
Oh, that's also, the problem is he disappeared there as well, Sean, didn't he? He's gotten right, and he's either had netcode issues or not, because he's disappeared, come back on, and it was not too clever there. But as we jump on board now, Gareth Measham, and that is Will Goldburn there around the first corner. We're going up into turn 2. I think Gareth has got this job done as we're coming down into turn 2. Is Will going to give him the room, or is he going to make him go round the outside? He's going round the outside. He's going around the outside. Oh, he's taking the inside line. Oh, coming down into that 4-5 straight as we jump back on board with Johnny Hitchin now. That is an absolute insane start. It's an amazing start for Johnny Hitchin because he's got a car between him and Don Roberts. Now, How important is it that James is sat there for as long as possible for Johnny?
Look, the league's going to be between these two here, probably Tennant and Busby at the end of the day. So any gap between those guys and their rivals is always going to be good.
Yeah, I think that's going to give Johnny Hitchin a boost of confidence when he looks in his mirror and sees James Acklam there as they come round. Acklam into turn 14. We've got Don Roberts tucked up right behind us there with 0.35 seconds. We're going to be heading down the start-finish straight. We're going to be going through the gears as much as we quickly as possible as we can. We get on the gas. We've got Don Roberts, James Acklam behind him there. Is he going to stick his nose out and have a look? There you go. He pokes it out, lets him know he's still there, and then just tucks straight in behind him again, going into turn 1.
Yeah, let's just see here how James got past Dom originally. So James is in the red BMW, and Dom's in the BMW alongside Jonathan, and he's just outpowered him out that corner.
Yeah, he's just got it done, didn't he, before we even got halfway down the start-finish straight there. And then obviously we saw the poor Daniel Taylor hitting the wall in the background, and it all went a bit wrong for a lot of people, I feel. Biggest gainers and losers so far. We've got Josh Pratt up 5 places, Adam Wright up 7. Gareth Measham is on 4. Cy Anthony is the leader of the day. He is up 11 places. Capitalising really from, I suppose, Sean, the carnage that developed in front of him, I think was the words I would choose. Wouldn't yourself?
Yeah, totally. As I said before, it's all about keeping on the track. And if you do, you make it a position to look at that. Cy Anthony's up 11 places already.
Yeah, as we see Johnny Hitchin now, he's coming up behind 20, which is Stuart Bickley already. We've only been racing 5 minutes. Unfortunately, Stuart was involved in that carnage, I guess that would be the word I used, that basically was happening on track there. Johnny goes very wide coming into 14. We've still got James tucked up in front. He's currently in front of Don Roberts, I should say, not tucked up behind him. But as you can see, we've got the number 23 car in front of number 44, who's behind, unfortunately, the 23, as we're heading down into the start-finish straight. 0.23 seconds back as we're going down now as he comes into the first corner. Stuart Bickley on our left there has kept it well out of the way. Good racing there, son. Stay where you are. There's more coming through. So congratulations to him. I was excellent driver as a back marker, really. That's what you want to see in front of you, Sean, really, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a tough track to be back marker on, particularly this early. And if you've got damage, which he probably does, that hadn't been repaired, oh dear.
Oh dear, who was that? David Contos, and was that wasn't Gareth Measham?
No, that was Adam Wright.
Adam Wright coming down now, as you can see, and that's just. I
don't think Contos touched him.
We get an on-board Contos there. I think that is. I'm sure that is got Contos's car number involved in that. Be interested to see from an on-board now as we go on board with David Contos in a Lamborghini. We're coming round into the left.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think. Would you look at sticking a protest form in for that, or are we going to say that's just a racing incident?
It's a tough one, that, isn't it?
No, I think it's just unfortunately he carried far too. Well, not say far too much, but he carried more speed going in, didn't he? As we see Jack Terrell with Josh Pratt tucked up right behind us now, as we're coming down into the left-hander of 13. We can see he's going to be closest now. He's going to be closer. Oh, Jake, you've got to be honest. Only 0.37 seconds back as we come into 14. We're going to be going up now. Late apex, as said earlier by Sean, going round on the lap as we push it forward. As we're going now with Jake, he's in front of Josh. Is Josh going to show him his nose? We expect it late at the straight. He might poke him out. Oh, there
Roberts
he goes.
Roberts has got past as well. Roberts is
there he goes, Jake, Josh Pratt has got past, and we've got James Acklam. Oh no, Don Roberts is still through. I thought James took it back there, my old timing table.
Let's take a look here. So we're on board with James. They're very close.
Yeah, they were very close coming out of that corner there. Did James go a little bit wider than he expected?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can get back a little bit and see. But Don Roberts riding it out. He knows he's got the inside line for the next corner. And there you go, John Dunn going up through 3 to 4 now. Incredible job. I don't expect James to be dropping back though, Sean. Oh, as we see, no, Cy Anthony and Will Goldburn, I believe that was as well. David Lowson, stay out of the way. You don't want to get involved with none of that. Don't go involved with all that. Cy Anthony, what happened here? As we see Will Goldburn in front of us, we carry a lot more speed, and with did we go?
That will be protested, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there was a gap there, Sean, wasn't there? The gap opened and he went, and then the kind of door closed on him. I don't know if that's my very diplomatic view of the situation there, Sean. What's your take on it?
I didn't see a gap, is my opinion.
See?
He shouldn't have been making that move.
No, I think it was a little bit robust. We did say they would be a lot more robust than the pros, these elites guys as well. So yeah, we're going to carry on. We see Jake Terrell now. We see Josh Pratt behind us. Did he get back through then? I thought Josh got in.
He did.
Yeah, so we've got Richard Simnar now. What have you been up to? We've got 64 behind us. Oh, was there a touch again? Plays up Will Goldburn nudging back.
I think what happened there is he came down. It was a bit hot going into there. He's probably changed down a bit quicker than his engine wanted to, and it's just spun him around.
Unlucky for you there, my old mate. Go back in the pits. You can be fine or carry on going. You should be good. Make it out to the pit stops. We'll see how we can get back. As we got James Armstrong now as well. He currently is 0.17 seconds behind James. Dom's opened up that little bit of the gap as expected. He's got 0.8 seconds. Now he's got 3.2 seconds on Jonathan Hitchin.
Yep.
Is he again going to be looking at pit stop to try and overtake that? Because Johnny's no slouch and he's doing high 142s. I think, is it going to be a pit stop strategy from Don Roberts who can make the difference on the jump?
Dom just needs to put his head down really and try and close in on that gap. It's a big gap to make up with the pace these guys are running. There's very little between them. I'm more really worried here for James Ackland. He's already lost a space here. He's heavily defending. He's compromising his lines throughout this lap that we've seen so far. And I think it's only a matter of time that the two Jameses get a move done between them.
Yeah, as we see James Armstrong is behind James Ackland as we come down the straight. We're 0.23 seconds back. Is James going to be poking his nose out? He's not. He keeps it well tucked up inside. We see Tom Tennant behind them as well, and Jake Terrell tucked up in sixth behind them as well. Now he's going to be. We've got to be looking at poor old James Ackland. He's got to be. Is he nervous, Sean? Is he unsettled by Don Roberts getting past him and he's trying to push up to him, or what's happening? What do we think's going on with old James Ackland there?
Well, if he's looked at the qualifying times and the practice times that have come through today and this week, he has been slightly off these front two anyway. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's more than happy there too, as he's just lost the place to Armstrong.
Yes, Armstrong goes through now. Well before we get into 6 and 7. Carl Cranleigh, don't think he had a couple of work. Johnny is far ahead in clear and air. Yeah, I think so, but I don't see a lot of options for Dom there, sir, unfortunately. He's either got to put his head down and try and match Johnny's time and try and close the gap up, or he's got to look at see different ideas. Unfortunately, it's going to be interesting. Dave Lowson now, as we've got Charlie Bett behind us, and I believe that's Cy Anthony in front. Dave, there's the drain. Oh, Dave. Stay. Good. Well done. Well, that's collected a good few victims this evening there, Sean, and we've seen that in both races now, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Not surprised at all. It's one of those corners. I don't know if you've raced this track, James, but it's one of those corners where you think you can carry a lot more speed into it and hit that apex than you actually can. And that curve comes up very quickly and a little bit too much speed. You're on that grill.
Oh, James Ackland, sorry there, Sean, taking a I'm going to say taking a dive at James Armstrong there. We've got Tom Tennant now tucked up behind these as well. Is James Ackland going to hold this position, or is James going to make him go round the outside? If you're going to go there, you're going to be looking at him victim to Tom Tennant as well, James. Oh, there's contact, I believe. As we see Tom Tennant run slightly wide, James Ackland there is getting flashed by Tom Tennant. I think there was contact. He went for a move on James Armstrong, and as we said before, it compromised him up behind with Tom Tennant, as it wasn't, he didn't get that line, he didn't get that job done, did he, Sean? He didn't get that finished to be able to not put him in danger.
No, he had to go very, very defensive there. Probably a bit much, to be honest. And Tom, I would have flashed as well. I'd have been a bit annoyed by that because he cut him off.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think Tom was not too pleased about that. Reckon Don Roberts could pull off the undercut. Place your bets now. That's IR UK Dan. That's a polling chat, guys, as well. We should have a look, see if Don Roberts can pull off the undercut. I'm in favour of him. I think he should have a go, but maybe they're lapping around the same time. 143.6, 143.69 respectively. Johnny Hitchin in front. I'm looking. It's going to be it's going to be hard, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a hard one there for Dom to pull off. But if anybody can do it, I think we will see Don Roberts do it there as we head down the straight. We got James Ackland, Tom Tennant, Jake Terrell, Chris Hitchin, David Contos, and we've got James Armstrong leading the pack now. Now James has already made a move here, which jeopardised him coming up with the back of Tom Tennant. He pulls out again, fully committed. I think this is going to be the situation. Is he now going to carry that speed coming out up to 2? We've got James Armstrong again in front of us, stays in front as we come down into 2. Don't go out on that outside, James. You're going to be... Oh, hold on. As we're looking at Tom Tennant coming up as well, he's looking at picking up the pieces from this James Ackland. Is he making the moves in the right corners, Sean? He's just not holding it in that 1-2 section, is he?
Well, if you just look back about 7 corners ago, the reason why that came up in the first place was because James Armstrong really, really wide and deep into turn 13, and it allowed the rest of them to catch up. So Ackland there just really went for it because he saw James was putting away otherwise. He's compromised himself. He's brought Tennant back on him, and Tennant is not slow. He will stay on the back of him.
Yeah, as we can see Jake Terrell coming up to the back of the pack as well. It's going to be an interesting one. We've got on board David Contos. He is in currently 8th position. We've got Chris Hitchin in front of us, and we've got Cy Anthony behind us at the moment. There is Chris in his Porsche this year, and he's coming down into the 13 end of the lap section, guys. We've got David Conter 0.49, we've got Jake Terrell 1.5, and this is the thing I think that people who race will understand, is the fact that when you are consistently battling with people, you do end up slowing each other's down, sure, don't you, bringing in these people, and with this class of drivers, can you really afford to have them battles, or are you saying I'm just going to sit here? Because you are bringing other people into play. As we see James Ackland again in turn 1, is he going to get it done this time on James Armstrong? He's full throttle now. James is, there was slight little contact there. He's going to go round the outside. We're coming round into 2. We are going round. We are settling back in again. Oh, James Ackland, you've got to make a decision. If you're going to go for it, put your nose in there. You've let Tom Tennant in. He's got the run as we come down into the 3-4 straight. We're going to be taking the left-hander. Watch the drain, James. Watch the drain. And off he goes again. He's catching up and losing it again, Sean. Where's he going wrong? Is he not forceful enough coming out of 1 to close James off? Or is he not brave enough to put it round the outside of 2?
It's quite complex. That turn 1, 2, 3 is really seen as one overtaking manoeuvre. You've got to make sure you're in the right line from 1, 2, and then get that external 3 ahead of the other guy, making sure that you're inside on 3. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And the problem with coming in to sit the last race, coming in too late into that T1, you compromise on your exit too much, and the guy ahead is always going to get the better drive out of the corner. And that's what we've seen here. And the problem is, because he's compromised out of 1 into 2, Tom Tennant is right on him, he's putting him under pressure.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. As soon as in a field of this class, it's very difficult to really pull off these moves and make them stick without the other guys behind coming into play. As we see Tom Tennant now, he's coming up behind James Ackland. He's got to be fancying a move within the next couple of laps, as we see we're coming in kind of into the pit window with 20 17 minutes in. It's a little bit early there, as we see Scott Tuffy's in the pits at the moment. Going into chat, Shane Abbott in chat. After my attempt in the last race at an undercut, I must say no. Shane, you did. I think you come in as sixth and got out and finished in third, mate. I think we can see that. I think if you, you made it work. There, as we see a replay of Scott Tuffy just coming through. Was that the drain again, Sean, on that one?
That's the drain.
Yeah, put Scott Tuffy straight into this very corner there on that very bit, and there was unfortunately the drain that causes so much and has claimed so many victims this evening. As we're going on board, we've got Gareth Measham with Cy Anthony behind us, Dave Contos in front, Chris Hitchens leading this little gaggle of cars with Tom Tennant a further 2 seconds down the road with James Ackland, James Armstrong, Dom Roberts and Johnny Hitchin. There is I've got Jonathan down as a 4.5 second gap now over Dom. Is this looking really like Jonathan's to lose with 26 minutes to go, Sean?
Yeah, I was just looking at the track map there, seeing if there was any cars in front of Jonathan that could possibly hold him up. But as you can see, between car 1, just crossing the line now, and 17 at the top of the map, that's a lot of fresh air. So really it's where he comes out in the pits, when he does pit, if there's any cars near him when he comes out, that's going to be the only issue for him. I think this will be down to him to lose.
Yeah, I think this is, we're calling it now. I think we're going to look at another amazing drive from Johnny Hitchin. We have not really seen much of him. But we have got James Ackland, James Armstrong, Tom Tennant still going at it with 19 minutes gone in the race, 25.5 minutes left to go. As we're coming round into turn 2, again, we're going to be pushing out up to the hill. James, I've got to be honest, Sean, James Ackland doesn't look comfortable around that corner. He just doesn't look fluid like we're seeing from Tom Tennant round turn 2.
Yeah, if it was the Lambo and the BMW, that would probably be down to the car as much as anything, but Tom is running the better line around that turn 2 and he's getting a lot more out of it. But being Hungaroring, he's really not able to capitalise there unless he's right on him at the end of T1.
Yeah, as we come into the chicane, we're going to be going into 8 and 9. As I said in the last race, guys, there is no fancy names for the corners on this circuit. It is 1 all the way down to 14. There is nothing in the middle that could call it. So as we come round, as you can see now, we're coming into 9. We've got the 9, 10, 11. We've got the 10 King now going down into 11 and coming down at the bottom. No, we're not. We are
12.
down in 12. Sorry, guys, 12 and 13. My mistake, I was reading the wrong card over there, but we're on down into 12, 13, and we're going to be heading round the last corner into 14 now. As we're on board with Tom Tennant, we're waiting, and there you go. We are trying to get on the throttle. James Ackland in front of us. This is now who we want to get past, guys. We are 0.37 back. We're closing him. He's got the toe from James Armstrong. Tom's got a toe from James Ackland. Is there anywhere that these guys can make up this time? Obviously, as we see, we go up to Tom. It'd be interesting if we can stay on board going into this turn 2 to see the difference in lines as we come up now. James Ackland takes a different line from us. He goes round. Oh, no, I think that's the line James has been looking for there, Sean. I think he was a lot cleaner that time round.
Yeah, Tom was a bit further back that time around, so he was less apprehensive about the line he was taking. But one thing I did notice is all of the cars, these 3 here, going into the final corner, took very different lines, very different. And same again here, look, that's 3 different lines.
Yeah, they all seem to be finding different ways of going around this circuit as we come into the chicane. It's important now that we don't coming out, we stay away, and we're going to come round into 6 and down into 8 and 9. Again, Tom Tennant, again a different line to James Ackland, again a different line to James Armstrong. As we're dropping down, coming down into the 11, 12 straight soon. We'll have a quick run through the top 10. We've got Johnny Hitchin out in front, Don Robertson second, James Armstrong third, James Ackland, Tom Tennant, Jack Carroll in 4th, 5th and 6th respectively, Chris Hitchin 7th, David Konzoff 8th, Gareth Measham 9th and Charlie Bebb rounding out our top 10. As we're heading round 13, we're going to be dropping down into 14. And this is the run, isn't it? This is where we've seen the different line again. James Armstrong seems to take a very wide line, brings James Ackland tucked right up behind him. As we're heading down the start-finish straight, 0.37 seconds behind on Tom board with Tom Tennant on behind James Ackland, who's 0.3 behind James Armstrong as we come down into that first corner again. Are we going to see it? Oh no, James, get on the power. Wait, oh, James Armstrong's got away there in turn 2 as we see Chris Hitchin. He's coming onto the back. I believe that to be Jake Cherrill in the number 35 car there. They're heading down into turn 2 as well now. There's a different line again from the all 3 drivers. We've got the BMW, Porsche and the Lambo there as well with David Contos. We're going to be heading up into, we are in 7, so we're going to be coming up into 4 and 5 now. It's going to be very interesting to see Chris. Oh, the drain, Chris! I was just about to say you look a lot more comfortable with the Porsche this week, and unfortunately at that moment, your back end joined your front.
Did you curse it? Is that what that was?
Well, the problem is, at the point I was going to say look more comfortable than last week, was actually at that point he went round. So technically I didn't get my words out, so can't blame me on that one, Chris. I'm afraid.
One thing to note there, James, is that we've had a couple of guys come into the pits so far. So we've had Cy and Will. Cy Anthony, who's back down to 16th, and Will Goldborn, who's back down to 15th. They both come in a bit early. Be interested to see what Cy did. He came in lap 12, so a lap ahead of Will. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I expect to see Cy come up probably into the top 8, I reckon, by the time these pit stops have played through.
Yeah, we saw the pit stops strategy from Shane Abbott in the last one. He managed to jump a good few positions. I think it was like 3 or 4. As we see James Armstrong weaving right, we've got James Ackland in the left there, the number 23 car. Tom Tennant still tucked up behind. These 3 have been going now all the way through from the start of the race, since Don Roberts cleared them. These guys are 8 seconds back from the Don Roberts, who is currently in 2nd place. It's going to be interesting to see. We've got Gareth Measham and Chris Hitchin has also gone into the pits as well. So it'll be interesting to see where that puts out Cy Anthony. I think he's done 11.8 seconds, 12 seconds stop, I believe, as well. So that's going to be an interesting scenario. So keep an eye on the pit stops, guys, as well. We'll see there he is with Cy Anthony. He goes, he's currently in 15.
Yeah, so
Will
these 2
Goldblum
together as well. So they've both pitted, so they'll be trying to run through all the traffic.
Yeah, they both jumped. Chris Hitchin, who's down currently, is out in 16th, I believe. He's out of the pits now. He's got Richard Sinnar in 17th behind him, but I think he looks quite comfortable. Now, pit stops are going to play a massive strategy, as we've seen from the pro race with what Shane Abbott did. You know, are these guys, this is at that point of the race, I think we mentioned it in the last one, that we're going to be thinking about undercutting, overcutting, or am I going to go in at exactly the same time? What would you do in this personal point of view, Sean? Like, you're driving around, you're James Ackland, you see James Armstrong running right, you can get close, but you can't get past. Are you looking, would you think, I'm going to go in, I've had enough, or are you going to stay with him as long as you can?
In this situation, it's all about whether you think you can go faster without him in front of you or not. It's as simple as that. If you're in that window to pit, they've touched.
Oh, James Ackland, James Armstrong, Tom Tennant. Nearly 3 wide going into turn 2. This is not going to work. We've got James Armstrong in front. James, you have got the inside line from Tom Tennant. If Tom's going to be brave, he's going to go round the outside now. As we're heading round the outside of Tom Tennant, he slots in. James cuts him off, which is fine. He's on his way and he's on that split, but Tom's got an excellent drive coming out. Be careful as they're coming down onto turn 4, 5. Now we've got James Ackland in front. There is a drain there that's claimed so many individuals this evening. James Ackland, Tom Tennant side by side as we go round into 5. We're going to be down into the chicane in a minute. Somebody's got to give. You cannot go through there too wide. It's not going to work. Tom Tennant slots in behind James Ackland. I think that could be again James Ackland. Oh, he takes a very different line to Tom Tennant. They're still double side by side. Tom slots in behind him again, coming into turn 11 before we head down onto the straight into 12. There you go, we're going to be taking turn 11. We've now released James Armstrong. He's pulled out 1.5 seconds up the road. James Ackland goes very defensive earlier on. We've taken the right-hand side. We're coming down into 13. Into 12, sorry. Now we're going to be going left into 13. We are side by side still. And means side by side. We've been side by side for 3/4 of this lap as we headed down into 14. James Ackland goes in front of Tom Tennant. Tom pulls out. James goes in the pits. James Ackland is in the pits. I think, Sean, from what I've seen then, I think that's the right move. I think he looked under a lot of pressure there, and I think he can just chill for this pit stops, don't you think?
Yeah, as I was about to say before, James, in fact, touched at the beginning of that lap, and that we saw that sequence. If you think you can go faster with the guy in front or behind you, then without the guy in front or behind you, then going in the pits, and that's exactly what we've seen Ackland do here. He was defending so much, he lost almost 2 seconds by the end of that lap, and I think he made the right decision to get out of that battle at that point.
Yeah, he looked under so much pressure from Tom Tennant there as Tom now pushes on to catch up to James Armstrong. I think that was definitely the right move for him there. As we are on board now, let's have a round out top 10 quickly. We've got John Hitchin 1, Dom Roberts 2, James Armstrong 3, Tom Tennant 4, Jake Carroll 5, Dave Contos 6, Charlie Bev is 7th. Adam Wright is up a massive 8 places in 8th at the moment. Josh Pratt's up 3 places up into 9th, and Michael Hornby is the leader gain position of the day. He is up 13 positions. 13 positions is absolutely amazing, and he has stopped as well, but I'm going to believe that he stopped on lap 1, so I've got a funny feeling he might have to stop again, unless he's, well, yeah, he's probably going to have to stop again, so he might be out of position, but for a minute he's up 13 places, so there you go. Absolutely amazing. We've got Charlie Bebb, David Contos, Jake Cheryl now as we are in to 12, coming round 13. We're going down into 14. We've got Will Goldburn is going right tucked up behind Gareth Measham. We've got Ben Cullen behind us now as well as we're coming round into 9, 10 and 11.
Sorry to interrupt there, James. Looks like Armstrong and Cheryl have just got in the pits, so this has released Tom Tennant. Now, which is interesting. Also, Cy Anthony, he was right behind Will Goldborn. He's now dropped down to 17th with Cullen, Hitchin and Sinmore in front of him.
So what has happened to Cy Anthony on that one? James Armstrong, Jake Cheryl are in the pits at the moment. As we see, Josh Pratt is going to be going past these two as well. Michael Hornby, as we said, is out of position at the moment, but he's going to be going through. He goes up another position. As we see, they are going to be... Can we go to James Armstrong and see as he's come out now? He come out in front of James Acklam, so it didn't quite get the jump there, James Acklam, unfortunately, on James Armstrong, but he's still within that gap, isn't he? He hasn't lost loads of time. He's 0.73 back, so these guys are going to resume battle as per normal. As for the first half of the race, we are just coming up under 14 minutes now as well.
Yeah, it looks like Ackland has actually gained over a second on Armstrong through that pit stop. His box time was almost a second less, and he was a little bit quicker down the pit lane as well. As Hitchin.
Yeah. Hitchin and Don Roberts are in together, so that's going to be an interesting thing as well. I think we're going to see Tom Tennant coming in now as well. They'd be interested to see with the James Armstrong, James Ackland. Where are we at the moment? We are down in 10 and 11. We've got Tom Tennant in the pits. Charlie Bebb's going in. Dave Contos going in. I think we're going to see an influx of cars now as we're going with Adam Wright. He's going to be heading in as well. That releases Dave Lawson, but I think Lawson's already a lap down. So we are going to be looking at the Armstrong-Ackland battle, I think, as well, as we're heading down at 13. Johnny Hitchens out. He's out and gone. 10 seconds. Don Roberts is out as well. Where is, as we see, we've got James Armstrong, James Ackland coming down. We've got Tom Tennant still in the pits. Tom, you need to get on your boots, son. They're coming. So he's coming down now. We've got James Armstrong. Are they going to be coming out side by side going into turn 1? Is James going to be committed all the way through? We've got James Ackland. Don't do it. No, that's not going to work. Oh, no, they're coming out. James Ackland pulled him right across the front of Tom Tennant. He kept James Armstrong out in front as we head down into 2. We are in the freeway battle we was in earlier. We're still in it now. James Armstrong in front. James Ackland behind. Tom Tennant. Sean, that was close.
Wow. Let's take a look at exactly what happened there, because that there were inches between those two cars. I'll try and roll something up while we watch these guys through.
Oh, that was absolutely, that was so close. James Ackland, Tom Tennant, James Armstrong. Wow, that was just incredible how they've managed to, quality of the field there, guys. They've managed to miss each other as well. But well, that was, here we go. We're on board with Tom Tennant as we're coming to the end of our pit stop now as well. We're sitting there waiting. He's going, he's got his foot down, he's impatient. He puts the revs in, hits that line. He's going to be going now on our left-hand side very shortly. We are going to be seeing a red car of James Ackland. There goes James Armstrong. We've committed there. Oh, wow. Wow. How that didn't end up in complete and utter disaster, I have no idea. That's just, wow. James Ackland straight across the front of Tom Tennant. James Armstrong as well manages to clear that. That could have ended up in, complete disaster for the free. So, well done you guys for keeping it clean. We're going on board with Tom Tennant at the back of the trio going down the start. We've got James Ackland, Tom Tennant, James Armstrong leading. James has made a couple of moves on James in front, which is really bizarre. We're going to call him Armstrong on Ackland, I think. Otherwise, it's going to get very confusing. As we're heading out into turn 2 now, we've got Tennant behind Ackland, behind Armstrong. Going down into that turn 2. Different lines again, guys, there from James Armstrong, from Ackland, from Tennant. The two different car types, all different lines altogether there, Sean, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's Ackland's just on the defensive now. He's managed to skip ahead in the pits, and he really doesn't want to leave that space.
Sorry, Sean, James Armstrong, you're very slow. You were very slow. What happened going into that little section? You were very slow coming out. You put up Ackland right up behind you. We're in the chicane now as we're going down. Tom Tennant going into 8, 9, and we're going to be heading down into 10 respectively. We go round the tip of 9. We are going to be close together. We got James Armstrong in front of James Ackland, who is in front of Tom Tennant, who is unfortunately at the back of the pack of these three as we're heading down the little straights, down into that free-fall. Tom Tennant is flashing. Does he have a right to flash there, Sean, or is that something he's just trying to put him off, trying to disturb him from his line?
Well, this is the thing with iRacing. Some people don't even have the lights turned on the mirrors, so we have no idea if it's going to affect Ackland at all. But I think it's just a tactic to put him under a bit more pressure.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it does, as we saw from James Ackland before the pit stops. He gets a little bit nervous. But we have got James Armstrong, James Ackland, Tom Tennant. Now, we are talking, guys, literally 0.35 of seconds between these guys in general. There is no space for nothing. Shabsy6 in Twitch chat. This is insane racing between the three. Faster than Josh. Ackland deserves a medal. He's trying to overtake and defend at the same time. Yes, he is. But the thing is, he's doing it well. He's still managing to stay with James Armstrong. The pressure that these guys are under, I think, unless we've been in a race like this, that, you know, to be fair to these guys, that could have been disaster at the pit stops, and it's very clean. Tom Tennant showing his nose there as well, just to say, I'm still here, you still haven't got rid of me. As we're going through turn 5, down into 6, we'll be dropping down into the chicane now, 6 and 7. We're still one behind each other, guys. We've still got Armstrong, still got Ackland, we've still got Tennant. Tucked up, Tennant is, he's looking racy, Sean. He's looking like he's almost going to borderline frustration level.
Yeah, I think you're right here, James. Unless he gets a move done into 12, I don't think he's fast enough through that last corner to make the move into 1.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's just not being able to get it done. He pulls out, still lets Ackland know that he's here as he's going down into 12. We're going to be down 13. Ackland's coming close in the inside. Tom Tennant looks, it's going to be a frustration. I can either see this being a lunge or something disastrous could happen going down into turn 1. Tom Tennant's looking a very frustrated race driver in that BMW. He knows he's quicker. He can see him. He just needs to get in front, but he cannot get down past it going down into turn 1. As we're heading down there on Tom Tennant, 0.27 seconds to go down the straight. Is this going to be his move? Is it going to be his move again? He's dived for the inside. He's dived for the inside. We've got Ackland on the outside. Tom Tennant on the inside. So James Ackland keeps his foot in. We are going round the outside, and it's just not a move that he's going to hold. James Ackland, you've got to close the door, otherwise Tom's going to be coming back on you. Again, Armstrong doesn't look quick through that first section either, Sean. He doesn't look comfortable in that Lambo. These guys close right back up to him through that 1-2 section.
Yeah, you have to remember that Armstrong has, he had of his 4 qualifying laps, he managed to have 1 clean lap. So he's probably a bit green on this track, to be completely honest, and it probably tells with the pace that these guys have gone behind him throughout the entire lap.
Yeah, as we can see, we're into the chicane section. We're still James Armstrong, James Ackland, Tom Tennant. As we go forward with Charlie Bebb now, he's climbing all over the back of Jake Terrell, 0.25 seconds back. As we're heading through into the chicane, we're going to be down the chicane into 8 and 9, and we're going to be on our boots. We've got Ben Cullen, who's going to be climbing all over the back of Charlie Bebb as we're heading down onto the little into 10 through 11. Onto that little short straight very shortly. Again, they're very close battles. There's a few of these going on. The only 2 gaps really is at the front with Johnny Hitchin and Don Roberts, and then we've got little pockets of gaps. We've got 3, 4 and 5 together. We've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 together, and then we've got 12, 13 on their own. 14, 15 as well. They're heading round turn 11 and 12. They're together as well. But we are back on board with James Armstrong, James Ackland, Tom Tennant. Now, we've seen this now before. It's James. Oh, Will Goulburn. Did James make a move? They all look very close together. And there's that other little pocket now. We've got Jake Terrell, Charlie Bebb and Ben Cullen. But we've got Will Goulburn, Gareth Measham. And now they've been up 9 places for Gareth, 4 for Will, respectively, as we're heading round turn 1.
Yeah, so these guys, James, these, as well as Sai, who's down in 16th, so he must have had some sort of damage or something, but these 2 here, they pitted 2nd and 3rd, so they've done a massive undercut, and as I said, you pit early, you might be in the top 8 if you're lucky, and you can see is in 7th.
Yeah, so there we see Sean calling it earlier on, that Gareth Measham, Will Goulburn jumping up mountains of positions, especially for Gareth up 9. Jake is now at the back of the Charlie Bebb, Ben Cullen, so it'd be interesting to see if we can see what happened on that one, because he was in front of this free. As we see now, David Contos pushing at 0.79 seconds behind. Here we are now, we're on board with Charlie Bebb. Does it just unfortunately unsettle Jake going into turn 1? Yep, Jake goes in too hot, loses a lot of places. Ben Cullen's going to be coming up as well. Charlie's on our left, Jake's on our right, Ben Cullen behind us in the Porsche. Charlie goes through, and I think Jake, you left the gap open, you left the door open. Ben Cullen followed him through. But here we go, we've got Jake round, trying to go round the outside there. I'm not quite sure that's going to work into 12. A little bit of a touch. Jake Terrell touched Ben Cullen. Not fortunate enough that Ben manages to keep it on track and is now flashing furiously. I think I would be flashing as well, to be honest. I've got to be honest. But James Armstrong, James Ackland, Tom Tennant. Well, we're 0.7 seconds behind the...
Gonna go to Contos, I think.
Yeah, Contos is over Jake now as we go into turn 1. Jake takes the inside line, a bit more conservative than he did earlier on. Unfortunately, he made that mistake and lost 2 places to Charlie Bebb and Ben Cullen. We've got 3 minutes, 37 seconds left of this race, and we have got fights for 3, 4 and 5. We've got fights for 8, 9 and 10. 1 and 2 are clear, 6 and 7. 7 is Will Goulburn. Looks like he is closing up onto the back of Gareth Measham as well. So we could have 3 little pockets of battles going on in the top 10 as we come within 3 minutes, coming nearly under 3 minutes to go. I think this is going to be, wow, Sean, I can't really see which way this is going to be between these 3. It's going to be an epic ending.
It is, and I think it's going to come down to whether Tom thinks he can send it and keep it into either 12 or 1 at the end of the day. I'm very interested in the battle that's going on for 9th, 10th and 11th, because these guys are very fighty.
Yeah, as we see Dave Contos now as well. We've got Jake Terrell in front, Ben Cullen behind us. Charlie Bebb in front of Jake now as well as we head down 7, 8 and 9 positions we are in. Currently 12, we're going to be coming round into 13 very shortly. And there we go, Charlie Bev, Jake Sherrill, David Contos, Ben Cullum. Think there's no excuse for hitting the back, especially in elites. Carl, it happens, unfortunately. We've all unfortunately tagged the back of the cars at some point as we're heading down the start-finish straight. Charlie Bev, Jake Sherrill, David Contos, Ben Cullen. Again, they're very close together. It looks like Dave Contos should make a move, I would have thought. There he goes, he sticks his nose out in front. Jake Sherrill defends the line, not cleanly. He had a bit of a wiggle on, but he's managed to do it there, Sean. I think with a minute and a half left, it's going to be a rough minute and a half for Jake Sherrill.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah, I think he's going to really struggle.
Sorry, James. Yeah, let's just see how it goes through here. It seems to be that this Lambo is quicker at the moment than the Beamer through the middle section of the lap.
Yeah, as we can see now, as we're coming in the 8, 9, 10 battle, they're coming into turn 4 and 5. But we got James Armstrong, James Ackland and Tom Tennant still together. There is Johnny Hitchin. We haven't seen much of you this evening, sir. You are 6.5 seconds in front of Dom Roberts. Keep it clean. I think this is going to be, I think we're going to see the white flag at probably 1 minute 16 left. It's going to be the white flag for Johnny Hitchin as we come across the line. And there we go. I believe there he is, the flag man flying. Johnny Hitchin's going to be coming round. We've still got James Armstrong, James Ackland, Tom Tennant close together. We are coming through 14. We are on the final lap. Jake Sherrill's lost out to Dave Contos and Ben Cullen as well. I wonder if... Oh no, Ben's already through, who was unfortunately at the back of the free.
He's got through there though.
Yeah, I think he managed to get through coming down into 12, but he wasn't the back. No, that's where they touched. So where did...
We'll have a look at the end, I think,
Yeah,
because these guys have got a lap to go now. Anything can happen between these two.
Yeah, see if we can find it as we're going down into turn 2, kick into 3, as much power as possible going up the 4, as we're going to be into that section now. We know Tom is flashing James. He's going to be trying to get him to run wide. There's a drain there, don't do it. As we go down, Tom Tennant coming up the trying to get around the outside of James Ackland into 5. He's looking at going to be trying to go for the chicane. He stays line astern through the chicane. As James Armstrong looks like he's got third wrapped up now. But we're going to be nearly to follow this. We have got Johnny Hitchens coming round 13. He's going to be coming round into 14. If we can just see how Johnny's taking the start-finish line. 11 and 12, these guys are heading down. And I think, guys, there is your winner. Johnny Hitchin has taken the win tonight. Good, well done for you. Absolutely excellent driving. Dom Roberts. There is the guys as well. There is James Ackland, Tom Tennant.
Tried it into 12.
I think he tried it into 12. Didn't quite get it as we're coming round into 14. I don't know. There was a very frustrated Tom Tennant. It would be interesting to see how the move was done into 12. And there we go. Across the line. James Ackland, Tom Tennant. Wow, absolutely incredible. There it goes. The good David Contos now as well got the job done on Jake Sherrill in the chicane. Is this where he lost the position to Ben as well?
It is, yeah. So he lost one on the in and one on the out.
Yeah, poor old Jake Sherrill went to the back of the free. Brave to try there. Frustration just boils over. I think, yeah, that was a very frustrating Chris Hitchin. Oh, you guys had him right, Chris Hitchin. I think that would have been, I think that would have been a side-by-side there, Chris. I mean, Sean, sorry, I think that would have been get your elbows out as much as possible. I was surprised that they wasn't side-by-side going in, coming through that thing as well. So,
yeah,
wow.
They actually finished exactly the same time as each other, so it'll be interesting to see what iRacing call that, because that'll all be up to the iRacing system, and thousandths of a second between Hitchin and Wright.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. Thank you for the follow, Carp, in Twitch there, much appreciated. Brave to try it there, frustration just boils over. I think Tom Tennant was very frustrated. He looked so much quicker as well. So, yeah, unfortunate there. Let's guide you through the results As you can see, we got Jonathan Hitchin, the winner takes 40 points. Don Robertson second, James Armstrong in third, James Ackland, Tom Tennant. Wow, absolutely incredible between you three. Gareth Milsh and Will Goldburn capitalised from the pit stops. Absolutely amazing job there as well. Charlie Bebb, David Contos, Ben Cullum in 10th place, Jake Cherrill in 11th, Adam Wright in 12th, Chris Hitch in 13th, Michael Hornby 14th, Cy Anthony in 15th, Richard Simnar in 16th, Joshua Pratt in 17th, Stuart Bickley in 18th. 1 lap down, David Lawson, 2 laps down in 19th, Scott Tuffy got caught out in the drain, he's 16 laps down, Chris Chatterton 21st, Daniel Taylor 22nd, who unfortunately had a bad start. Nathan Willoughby was in Twitch chat. iRacing crashed between the start of the end of the warm-up and the race. So he ended up 26 laps down, unfortunately. And Damien Lobbett as well, 26 laps down as well, unfortunately, for you guys. So, wow. Sean, that was absolutely incredible. It was definitely, I can say, determined from the pro race, wasn't it, this evening?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was non-stop action between 2 or 3 little groups all the way through that, and you could just sense the additional pressure the guys were putting on each other through that race. A lot of defensive driving, a lot of aggressive moves. It's exactly what we wanted to see, and I'm glad we saw it. Yes, there's not much passing, but they are going to try and pass anyway, as you said.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well. So credit to you guys, was absolutely incredible racing. So what have we got coming up this week, guys? Well, obviously, we got the Tuesday Night Live on the Total Sim Sport Twitch and YouTube channels. It's the turn of the F3s. They'll be live at about 9 p.m. from the amazing Suzuka circuit. Then on Thursday, it's the turn of the European Sprint Series, and that will be live just on the YouTube channel, guys, as well. So pay attention to that one, and that's normally live about 10:05 p.m. at the moment. And then don't forget, guys, on Saturday the 9th, we have the ISRC 6 hours of Spa circuit. So that's going to be an absolutely amazing race. That goes live at 12 midday, and that's definitely not one to miss. But much love to everybody in chat tonight who's been there. Absolutely amazing. Ricardo Gepparoni, nice racing again, guys. Well, Stuart, well, that sucked. F3. Yes, F stands for fantastic, and the 3 is Nick, me, and the drivers. Absolutely incredible. You never know there, sir. I may put my nose in and have a go at having a race on Tuesday at Suzuka. So, guys, an amazing week of racing coming up, and all that's left to say is from me and Sean, good night, take care, have a safe week, and we may just see you on the track sometime.